Welcome into episode 72 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. JD here, of course, with our guy Jake Biggie Mills. Biggie, I know you had a rough Friday morning to say, but it feels like you cooled off a little bit. But I know
Yeah,
you're still not happy. That I could
no,
say that.
but
But how
I
we
had
doing
some.
overall?
I'm doing good. I had some time to recover after Thursday. Not a Phillies fan though, but the other two Philly teams I am a fan of. So yeah,
Yeah, 100%. I get it. Eagles poor, very poor showing, which we'll talk about when we get to the NFL more in terms of breaking down the game that happened. But we'll let you talk about that. But listen, man, in sports right now, a lot of things are going on. The NFL, I don't think we can agree honestly. If you put 12 people in a room, I don't think any of them can agree on who's winning the Super Bowl right now.
yeah, it's
I don't
crazy.
think that's the case. There's so many teams that have good records, but like someone like the Colts, do you believe in them? I don't know. The 5 teams they beat, they're not too great. Uh,
Right?
someone
Yeah.
someone like the Bills and the Eagles, both 4-2. We know how good they are, but the last few weeks they've looked, pure garbage.
I was gonna
To
say,
say,
yeah, they both lost.
yeah, there's a lot of different things going on in the NFL right now. We can't really predict exactly what's going on, and NHL just starting. We'll get into that in a little bit in terms of what teams have played well so far. I know my Rangers personally. I'll get into it in a few seconds, but Rangers, they're doing all right. They should be a little better in my opinion, but there's still plenty of time left. Playoff baseball, both ALCS and NLCS are underway. Dodgers look like they're going to win another World Series unless the Mariners or the Blue Jays can get in their way, because it doesn't seem like the Brewers would be that much competition for the
No,
Dodgers. I know it was a close
unfortunately,
game.
but
Yeah, it just feels like the Brewers don't have the firepower that the Dodgers have. Which, I mean, when you have $1 billion on your team, that's what's going to happen.
yeah,
You're going to try to you're going to bully people in the sense of having that firepower, and Brewers do not have that.
yeah, the money's showing right now, to say the least.
For sure. I mean, listen, their regular season was, it was good, but it wasn't maybe what people
It
thought it
wasn't
would
Dodgers
be.
standard though.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. And then they get to the postseason, switches flip. They've lost one game so far. They swept the Reds in the wild card. They beat the Phillies, in 4 games, and now they beat the Brewers last night, and they have another game starting now. College football, I know we'll keep that one under wraps for now, but there's a lot of news with the specific program that 3 weeks ago we thought, oh, they're going to go to the national championship. They are not going anywhere near the national championship, and they're looking for a new coach. So we'll talk about
Yeah.
that. And of course we'll end it with the pick'em at the end, where finally last week I got back on the board. Unfortunately for Biggie, he did not, but it was a great
Nope.
game. We'll say that it was a
It
great game.
was.
Could have
Yes.
went either way, but we'll pick another good game, I think, later on. But let's start with how you doing. So usually we end with how you doing, but I think for both of our mental psyches, I think we need to start with this. So if you don't mind, Biggie, I would like to go first today. Usually I let
Go
you
right
know.
ahead.
I,
I was
I
say
like to stew.
your tragedy was more recent than mine, so go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. So everyone knows I am a Jets fan. I'm embarrassed to honestly say it. I am. I am a Jets fan. But let's talk about this. So I knew coming into this season. I mean, I've been telling people this from the beginning. I was like, don't buy any hype into the Jets. If you did, if so, do not buy any hype into them because they're not a team that is going to be anything worth watching in terms of playoff positioning and stuff like that. Yeah, they may win a few games. They may surprise a few people like along the way with 6 wins is surprising. 7, 8 maybe. 8 was if the defense was locked down and no one had a chance of scoring against them. Not the case. The defense has been pretty bad, and the offense is even worse compared to last week. But what I wanted to get to was, okay, so I don't have a problem this year, or like the last 15 years of my life being a Jets fan. Oh, it's going to be next year. We're going to be better next year. But to be honest with you, I don't think they've ever truly ripped it down and started over. They've always tried to put Band-Aids on holes and try to, mesh it together. And if you want it to go, a full rebuild like they've been saying they want to do, which, I mean, I don't think they have to. I think they have enough guys on the team at certain positions that they don't have to do that. But I'm not the coach. I'm not anything associated besides a fan of the team. What do I know? But the coach, Aaron Glenn, and Darren Muji, the GM, they both feel that maybe they need to do more work than people think. So they brought in Justin Fields to be quarterback. They knew all along Justin Fields sucked. I knew it. They knew it. Everyone knows it. They're stuck with him for this year, which, I mean, the way he played the other day, 45 passing yards, really? I think I could throw 45 passing yards in a game. I mean, I think we both can do that. Come on, man. The film, Biggie, there was guys that were wide open. He's frozen. He won't throw. He will not throw the ball. And against a defense like that, you know what's coming from the Broncos. They
Well,
blitz,
yeah,
blitz, and he couldn't react to it.
yeah, I
It was
watched that game.
unfortunate.
That was a terrible offensive performance, to
Yeah,
say
I
the
mean,
least.
you texted me. You were like, "What is this game?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing up right now. I could have slept in for an extra, few hours on a Sunday that was going to be raining and everything like that. But I woke up 9 o'clock, ready to go for the game. And once again, they disappoint. But the main point I wanted to get to was, listen, I understand what I said the past 5 minutes about a rebuild, this and that. But at some point, you have to win football games. You have to go out there and you have to get a W on, under your name, and they're not doing it. Week 1 should have been a win. Week 3 against the Bucks, I know they got beat up for most of the game. They had that lead with under 2 minutes left. You got to be able to close that out. Then the other day, that has to be a win. I mean, that whole game was atrocious. The fourth quarter, though, they were up 11-10. They got the safety in the end zone, all that. They're up 11-10, and they're running the ball every play because they're petrified of seeing Justin Fields attempt to read a defense and throw a ball. That shows how bad they are and how incompetent they are. And I know, people are saying, Glenn, there's no way they get rid of him. Listen, they're going down the road slowly every single week of him being let go. And listen, their next 3 games, Panthers, Bengals, and Browns. If you don't win at least one of those, I know that's a very low bar. If you don't win at least one
But
of
it's the
those games,
Jets.
exactly. If you don't win at least one of those games, his hot seat is going to start, getting warmer and warmer because these are probably the most winnable games on the schedule at least for another month or so. Because then you got the Patriots, who are a surprising team. The Ravens, I'm not counting out yet. The Ravens are 1-5. I am not counting them out yet. I think they can figure it out at some point. They have a coach, they have a quarterback who's injured, who'll be back. A defense that should be much better than what they are. They played better against the Rams on Sunday. Maybe they'll figure it out. But those are 2 games. Jacksonville's another team that's surprising. You got the Bills, who week 18, if the Bills are playing for something, they're going to put a beating on the Jets. So maybe the Saints are another winnable game. And the Saints actually are not that terrible. They
They're
are probably
competitive.
better than the Jets by more levels than people thought. So that's what I'm trying to say. The next 3 weeks, if you lose those 3 games in a non-competitive way, Sunday, they lost by 2. That was not competitive. Everyone knew when they had no chance. I mean, come on. They were winning the game, and you still know they were going to lose. Like, it was just the way it was going. And I just don't understand why a team. There's teams that rebuild within a year. I know I talked about this weeks ago. Teams that rebuild within a year or with this and that. But if you truly want to rebuild, that you still win games along the way. That's a game you let go. End of the first half. I mean, come on, like that. You had about, I think it was over 3 minutes to put up just a field goal if you want to get in field goal range. They couldn't even do that. They were afraid to throw the football. Afraid to throw the football in the game of the NFL. The name of the game is throwing. All the good teams, they have quarterbacks that can go out there and
That's
make
the state of
every
the
single throw.
NFL right now. Everyone's throwing. Like you have a good
Exactly.
pass game,
Even
you
last year,
succeed.
100%. Even last year when you saw the Eagles win the Super Bowl, yeah, they were a run dominant team, but Jalen Hurts was able to make any throw whenever he wanted when he had to.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I know, not anymore, right now at least. But last year, my point is, even the Ravens, they're a run dominant team. Lamar Jackson can make a throw when he has to. Any team you could think of that's a run first team, they know how to make throws when they have to. I mean, the Jets can't do anything. They really can't do anything. Then we got Garrett Wilson, who's going to be out probably for 2 to 3 weeks. So you
That
got your
hurts
leading
so bad for
receiver.
you guys. Oh my
I
god.
mean, for him, honestly, if I were him, I would be like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna chill out for a month. Maybe make it 6 weeks. I just kind of, I'm over it. Their leading receiver going into this week has 72 yards on the season, so that shows how bad that it's getting to. But listen, I just don't understand it. I mean, I keep repeating myself, but it's just the fact that you had a game to win, a game that they win that game against the Broncos, who coming off a big win against the Eagles, that gets the guys' confidence. I mean, they have their confidence has been destroyed after what's happened the first 6 weeks. That's a game. Oh, we beat the Broncos. Listen, we didn't play our best and we still won a game. That gives you more than enough confidence to be like, okay, we can beat the Panthers. We can go out there and beat a Bengals team that's been struggling for the past month. The Browns are just as bad as us. And then you get some hope out of that. But, it gets crushed right away. And 0-6 is staring you in the face, and you have no response to it. Aaron Glenn, the attitude, like the personality he's bringing off is just not fitting the wins and losses. He's saying, like, are you starting Justin Fields this week? Is that even a question? Yeah, it should be a question because the guy can't throw. He had less than 50 yards in an NFL football game. I think he had like 17 yards at halftime, and he had 1 yard going into that awful possession before the half. So yeah, it is a question. It is something to think about. The locker room is busting their tails behind every single week trying to do something, and then you got a quarterback that can't function. So it's not only the quarterback; it's the defense. Before week 6, the defense is awful. You got one receiver that's NFL caliber, in my opinion. An offensive line that's playing good. I think they're playing fine. It just Fields holds on to the ball too long. The coaching is inept. They have no. Aaron Glenn is learning how to coach as a coach, which never goes well.
He's progressing as he's learning how to be a coach while coaching,
and it's not getting better. It's getting worse every week. Biggie, I like how you're laughing because that's what I would be doing if I wasn't a Jets fan. I would be laughing. It's like what I do. When I watch a particular, like the Oakland A's, I laugh at them. The Jets are worse than the Oakland A's if you want to compare them.
They're worse than anyone. Sorry.
Yeah. Any bad team in any sport, the Jets are worse than them. And I'm a person, I'm going to laugh at a basketball team. Think of the Washington Wizards, who stunk the last 6 years. Yeah, I'm going to laugh at them because they suck. But the Jets, they are the team that everyone laughs at, and I can't argue it. I can't do it. I can't defend them. I mean, I've done defending them. At this point, you can't go back and you can't defend them. It's over. It's been over, though. You know that. I said what I felt going into the season. I had no expectations. It's just the fact that you have actual games where you have a chance at winning, and you don't do it because you don't know how to game manage. You don't know how to, make a play, take someone out of the game when they're not performing, which you said you would do. You cut a kick returner week 1 after a fumble, but then you cut a guy after that, but then you bring him back and you play him again. So it's like you're contradicting the plan that you want to go to. If you want to be a hard-nosed, guy that is not going to take nonsense, you got to be able to stick to the script there. You got to be, I'm cutting you, and I'm not bringing you both back. I'm not bringing one guy back because I have ties to him before that. You can't do that. So that's my gripe with Aaron Glenn. But listen, if you lose the next 3 games and it looks ugly, he's halfway there or more than halfway there to going 0-17. He's more than halfway there losing his job.
Yeah, no, I will say you're probably gonna disagree with me as a Jets fan, but I think this is probably like they haven't been great, but they have at least mustered up a few wins and they've been competitive at times. They are not at all. Like they're just bad. Like this is a bad team. Like the Jets have been, not great, but they've been
but this is the worst.
Way better than this. This is bottom tier. Like I got to give compliments to past Jet teams because this makes them look like Super Bowl contenders. This makes like Aaron Rodgers last year look like MVP.
I 100% would agree with you.
This is bad. This is the low for the New York Jets. Yeah, obviously they haven't had any highlights, but still, they've been competitive. They've been like 5 or 6 wins, right? 4
7
wins.
before last year,
Yeah,
2 years in a
right,
row. So like
exactly.
they
They're
were
going to go
trying to,
0 and
you know,
17 this year. I'm telling you. I agree with you. They are. And
yeah,
Aaron
like
Glenn's going to be fired halfway through the year.
and I agree with you. I think that they'll let Glenn ride, they'll let him ride it out for the rest of the season. But
I don't
I
know.
think just because it's his first year, they'll let him do that. Just because they fired a coach last year during the
They didn't do
season,
that
which
with what's his name? What was the guy from the Broncos they fired at midway through his first season? Hackett. Yeah,
yeah,
him, and then
yeah.
Freddie
Urban
Kitchens with the
Meyer,
Browns.
yeah. There's been a few. I just feel like what the
I
Jets
think
went
Aaron
through.
Glenn's the next. I'm just saying.
I mean, listen, I wouldn't be opposed to it. You know how I feel about him. I wasn't a fan going into it. I really not on the board with him. But what I was going to say was, last year, you go back to last year, maybe firing Robert Saleh prematurely. If you look back at it, they were 2-3 going into a game against Buffalo for first place at the time. You look at it now. Robert Saleh's running a great defense with the 49ers, turned that unit
Yeah.
around. Jeff Ulbrich took over for Robert Saleh. He has the number 1 defense in Atlanta right now. A quarterback of last year is in first place. A lot of things are going right when you leave New York, which I mean has been a theme. But like you just said, you hit the nail on the head. I'm glad you brought this up because sometimes when I say these things, I sound crazy to outside people. You're not a Jets fan, and you just said they've hit a new low, which I don't think anybody would have thought after what last year and the year before that with Rodgers getting hurt, getting to that point.
Yeah.
You didn't think you can get that low, but you've gotten
they
lower.
did. They
Yeah,
did.
you've gotten lower. And listen, the last year they had 5 wins. That was a rough year. There was expectations that they didn't get it done. The 2 years before that, they were able to manage 7 wins with a great defense, offense that sucked. That Robert Saleh, I'm not saying he shouldn't have been fired because he probably was going to do what Ulbrich did anyway by the end of the year in terms of wins and losses. But I think that was a premature thing. And if you think about it, the defense played their best football. Every single guy on this Jets defense that was here last year, their best football of their career has been with Robert Saleh. And you get rid of their voice, and they have not been the same. Since week 6 of last year, the Jets defense has been bottom tier. And listen, again, you played one good game against the Denver Broncos. They struggle to score points. So I'm not giving them, I'm not going to say the Jets shut down a juggernaut, but they did. They played good. I'm not going to say they didn't. But the first 5 weeks were embarrassing in terms of defensively. And the offense, they have inflated stats. They were getting blown out in a bunch of games in the fourth quarter, and they put up some numbers. Oh, Justin Fields doesn't have a pick yet. Yeah, he doesn't throw the ball more than 10 yards on the field. You're not going to throw an
45 passing yards the other day.
Yeah, it's hard to throw a pick when you don't throw. Like, he took as many sacks as completed passes.
Right, yeah.
So it's like it's only doing so much with that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that's it for the Jets. I'll speed run through my other teams because the Mets made some news today in terms of some coaches they brought in. So they hired a new hitting coach who was with the team, but they gave him a new role as hitting coach. And his resume, he was with the Cardinals from 2018 to 2022. Every single year he was with St. Louis. They made the postseason, and they had a pretty good offense. Paul Goldschmidt won the MVP when he was hitting coach with the Cardinals. So I like the track record of the guy, but then I don't like how they said they're going to try to bring in another voice in terms of a hitting coach. You can't learn how to hit from 2 different people because it's not going to be the same plan. It just doesn't work. And that's something they tried to do last year. I don't know why you would try to do the same thing again, but listen, I'm gonna give them the Mets benefit of the doubt just because they were deep into the postseason last year. They had a good record up until the summer this year, so I feel like I can believe in them a little bit. But if April doesn't start out good, I'm going to be calling for Mendoza to be fired and some things to be changed. But for now, I'm okay with it. The bench coach they brought in, not familiar with him, Kai Correa. Well, he's a 38-year-old coach, so he's a younger guy. So I mean, if Mendoza screws up, I could see him definitely stepping in. Maybe in terms of being manager, they're going to try to groom him if everything goes right to become a future manager. So I don't mind that. And then there's I'm curious to see who the pitching coach is going to be. That's going to be a big one. I don't know what direction they're going to go in. If I had a guess, they're going to go with a younger guy again and, someone that leans on analytics, which I'm not a fan of. But that's not we know we know, but we'll see what they do. But if I had a guess, that's what the Mets will do in terms of pitching coach in the future. That'll probably come out within the next week or so because they're naming these coaches so quickly. Not really much on the Knicks. Keep an eye on them. I'm probably going to put out a Knicks preview episode later in the week, so stay out, stay locked in for that one. Just because next Wednesday is opening night for the Knicks, Cavs game 1, so that's gonna be a great game. Me and Biggie have a little bit of a rivalry going on with that game, but we'll be ready for that. That's gonna be a good game. I think those 2 teams will be the top 2 in the Eastern Conference when all is said and done.
That's a good way to start out the year, I think.
Great year, great, and it's in the Garden as well, which is a great environment, especially for the beginning of the season. So we're gonna be hyped for that one. We're gonna be locked in. Definitely chirping each other next week. We'll save the basketball talk for next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then with the Rangers, they're 2-2 record right now. They're 2-0 on the road and 0-2 at home. Have yet to score a goal on home ice, and that streak is still continuing as they're halfway through the second period. So they're struggling offensively, but Igor has been really good. He's 2-1 on the year, but has he's let up like 1 or 2 goals the whole season. So he's been really good. Igor looks like he's back to his normal self. I think it's kind of showing that he was injured last year and didn't want to sit out.
I was gonna say you could tell he was like
he was struggling in terms of his health.
You could tell he was hurt last year.
Yeah, without a doubt, he was definitely struggling. But listen, I think the Rangers can surprise some people just because the top end talent is there. The depth might not be there, but that's something you can work on throughout a year. But you have to start off fast. Mike Sullivan, I like his mentality just because he's a hard-nosed coach. I like what he brings to the table. But what I didn't know was he brought back David Quinn, who was a former head coach of the Rangers, which I didn't like him at all. Yeah, he's back as the assistant, one of the assistants, which I was watching the game. I was like, whoa, he's back. I'm not a huge fan of him, but listen, an assistant role, I guess it'll be fine. He was with Pittsburgh last year, and he changed their power play unit around tremendously. So hopefully he can get their offense, clicking for the Rangers, which not yet through 4 games, but we'll see what happens. They got the Oilers right now. Oilers, of course, we talked about them and like they're a good team. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Notre Dame, I forgot about them. Notre Dame up to 13 in the rankings now. Their first 2 losses of the year look pretty good, honestly. They lost to Miami, who's number 2, and Texas A&M, who's number 4.
Should be 1, but
yeah, I agree. But listen, Notre Dame, it's like I said, 4-2 now record. You win your last 6, you're going to be in the playoff, and you might actually get a higher seed than what was thought out to be when we first thought about it. But they moved up, they moved up like 10 spots since they started 0-2, and that's just a month, and they're just moving up because teams are losing. And that's what you got to root for. Teams to lose.
And this could be the Notre Dame hater in me. I don't want to say it's fully because they're playing insanely good teams.
They're not playing great. I'm going to be honest with you. They're not.
They're playing. They have a really easy schedule, and a lot of these big time teams are losing. So it's actually helping.
They're taking advantage. Yeah, they're taking advantage of the schedule. I think they could play a little bit better. The last 2 weeks they haven't really been dominating, but we'll see. They got a good test this week. USC.
This is probably their best game. This is the last good game they have realistically.
Yeah,
and their schedule.
And listen, like we said, if they lose, they're out. And if they win, that's another. They're probably only good win of the year. Putting it up on there, it'd be like, oh, we beat USC at home at a night game. USC could score points, so that's a big deal.
Like, if they win this one, they can make an argument to get in the playoffs. I think
100%, as long as they take care of business. Yeah. What's up, Dan? How we doing? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Yeah, Biggie. I talked for like 20 minutes here, but anything you got with your teams? I know the Flyers have started out. You got heartbroken on Thursday, but we'll see what happens.
NHL. The thing with the NHL is, the opening game, you can't be too mad about losses like that. It's not at that point in the year yet. But I will say, despite the loss against the Panthers to open up the year, they looked pretty good. I'm not going to lie to you. They looked pretty good. I'm pleased with the way they're playing right now. So they did. So they beat the Panthers and they lost in overtime in Carolina, which is also a team that's competitive. So and then they beat the Panthers last night 5-2. So I think this Flyers team is going to be pretty decent this year. I'm really liking the way that, especially in the game last night. Kind of how spread out we were. Sean Couturier had, surprisingly, because I think he's been one of our guys that's been kind of quiet, even though he's been the captain. He's been quiet. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. Zegras had an assist. They just, they played good. Tyson Forrester had a goal. Bobby Brink had a goal last night. I think that I think they look pretty good. Obviously, I think with the younger team, it's going to take them a while to get to a point where they're going to be like, okay, we got to watch out for the Flyers in the Metro. I don't think they're at that point yet, but they are going to be a lot better than they were last year, I think. And I'm really impressed with our new goaltender that we got from Calgary. Very, very impressed with Vladar. He's playing great. And you know what? I hope, and I know this sounds horrible, but I hope this opens some people's eyes and be like, well, Sam Harrison, he's not very good. Why did we hype him up so much? Why? Because it made me so upset. It's like when people talk good about the Jets for you. It's like never been on the Jets. It's the Jets, right? With me, it's like they're like, oh, Sam Harrison, he looks great. No, he doesn't. Sam Harrison's, I don't think he's that good. They hyped him up because he made the Sweden national team. That's why. You know what I mean? Because he was their goalie. But I just don't think he's that good. I don't know why he was hyped up so much. And I think Vladar being in net now is, going to help, kind of push Harrison out of the goalie number one role. And he kind of already has. Vladar has 26 shots against, hang on, this was from last night. So yeah, 26 shots, 2 goals allowed. Save percentage was a .923. This is in last night's game. So I mean, he looks pretty good. I'm very impressed with him. I think he'll be. I think that was something we needed, a better goaltender. Because obviously, with Carter Hart, what happened, you know, we had the pieces there. Like we had the pieces there, but we were a couple players away, and we had a good goaltending. Goaltending wasn't our issue. Now, since that happened, that's been our issues, and I think now we've kind of patched it a little bit. We have a very young core, though. It's going to take them a little bit to develop, but I think they're going to be pretty good. I think they made the playoffs this year. I genuinely do. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, but I think they're going to make the playoffs this year, and I won't be disappointed every time I watch that team play like I was last year.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. And you know what? It was a great weekend because, despite the horrible game, Syracuse didn't play, so they couldn't have disappointed me this weekend. So, but they probably will Saturday. They're playing Pitt, who just beat Florida State. They had the bye week. I just really hope that something happened over this bye week. I really hope something did, because what we saw since Angeli's injury, so what we saw of Ricky Collins is nothing.
Not competitive. Yeah.
Not competitive, and it's just bad. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's embarrassing. It's bad play, and people are mad that he's the starter coming out of the bye week, which, I can understand. But the problem is, below him, I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's a true freshman. Luke Carney is our second string now. He was third string, but everyone's calling for him to come in, and I'm like, I get it. He's been playing really, really bad, like horrible. Like it's been really bad compared to Angeli, but you can't jump the gun on Ricky Collins just yet. You're coming off a bye. You're playing a team like Pitt, who obviously is playing really well right now with their own true freshman quarterback. But you're coming into a game that could possibly be a trap game for Pitt, because they won their last 2 games pretty. I mean, they just beat Florida State, who obviously is declining a little bit, but still for Pitt, that's a big win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they beat Boston College by a lot the week before. So this is a team that's hot right now, but I think this is also a trap game for them as well, like coming to the Dome and all that on a 7:30 kickoff. I think this is probably our opportunity here to kind of
do something.
be like, okay, maybe they'll make a bowl game, because all right, so here's my verdict. If they lose Saturday night, they're going 5-7 and not making the bowl game, which would be so disappointing because of the way we started. Because after that, you have Georgia Tech, you have Miami, you're at Notre Dame, and you host UNC and you host Boston College. Those are your 2 wins right there if you don't beat Pitt. If you beat Pitt, you make a bowl game and go 6-6, because you're not beating Georgia Tech, you're not beating Notre Dame, and you're not beating Miami. Those Notre Dame Miami games are back to back, and they're both on the road. We're not winning any of those. I'm telling you right now. And Georgia Tech's on the road too. Not winning any of those games. I'm telling you right now.
No.
But if they lose the Pitt, I would call it. I would just say the season's over, because you're beating UNC, who is a dumpster fire, and Boston College, who isn't great, on your last game. And you're going 5-7. You're missing out on a bowl game after you started the year off really well. Which, quarterback injury, I get it, but something needs to change. Like, something needs to happen. Ricky Collins needs to get comfortable. If you're telling me that QB competition was close during camp, I better freaking see it, because I haven't yet, and neither is anyone in Syracuse. Nobody's seen it. I better see it. We better see it on Saturday night. And now, the team that disappointed me the most was the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the reason why, now, JD, I've talked on the show a lot about how much of a displeasure I have of the NFL compared to college. I don't mind the NFL. I'll watch it. Absolutely. It's football. But I am a firm believer that college football is 100 times better than the NFL. I love college football. College football is the peak of sports. But the Eagles are in prime time on a Thursday night against the Giants, and I'm off from stuff. I'm on fall break, going out with the boys, right? I get my hopes up for a game and I actually get locked into it. That
Yeah.
happens sometimes with the Eagles. I tell you, the reason why I'm really like I actually follow the NFL is because of them. If I wasn't, big on the Eagles, I wouldn't really care about the NFL. You know what I mean? So, when I actually get an opportunity to really lock in on the Eagles when there's not a million games going on, it's like, all right, I get my hopes up and I get excited and I get really into it.
Hmm.
And it just so happened to be when I finally get into it, that happens. Just an embarrassing performance. Like genuinely, our defense sucks. I'm telling, like our secondary's terrible. And everyone was telling me, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal. They still have all these people." No, we suck. Defensively, we suck. Just saying it straight up. The Eagles defensively suck. And then we had Zadarius Smith retire
Yeah, just randomly.
just randomly.
Randomly.
I mean, that's not like a crazy. It is kind of crazy because of the timing, but like still it makes you think a little bit. What's really going on? And then
Yeah.
I can't even blame Kevin Patullo. I can't. You guys saw my video that got posted on Friday. I can't fully blame him. Saquon played. He remembered he had Saquon Barkley. A.J. Brown got the ball. Jalen Hurts just didn't have his best game and, threw a pick and we turned the ball over. And our secondary is Swiss cheese. That's what it is. We turned the ball over and our secondary sucks. That's the thing of it. Offensively, I thought we were okay. We didn't score the entire second, but like I think Saquon got a reasonable amount of touches, and we threw the ball to A.J. Brown, which is stuff I've complained about all year. I had
Yeah.
a big rant about it last week, that Kevin Patullo has no clue what he's doing with this team. He doesn't realize he has the best running back in the NFL. He finally remembered he did, but unfortunately we lost. So looking forward for them. I don't know how they're going to end up. They might end up being a wild card team at this point, to be honest with you. It's the way it's shaping up. So yeah, and then that's really all I got. The Yankees, embarrassing as always. I knew that was happening. That was I was ready for it. I wasn't even like I wasn't even disappointed. I was actually kind of happy. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm waiting for the Boone job execution. I'm waiting for it. And then let's talk a little college hockey because Penn State last Thursday lost to Clarkson.
Ooh.
Penn State sports are not in a good spot. I don't know if you guys.
No, they're not doing too well right now.
I'm a Penn State hockey fan because Syracuse does not have an NCAA team, so I follow Penn State for hockey. They are, one of the better programs. The Big Ten for hockey is huge.
Yeah.
And they start up. They lost to Clarkson, who is not a team you should lose to as a top 5 team in the country, or they were at the time. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But they should be okay. I hope they are because they played really bad in the beginning of the year last year and then made the Frozen Four. They won got into the Frozen Four. They lost, but it was the first time in school history they made the Frozen Four, so it was huge. And then we have the projected number 1 overall pick, Gavin McKenna. So, or number 1 overall draft pick, Gavin McKenna, on our team. So, see how that goes. They should be okay. I don't follow them as heavily as my other teams, but I want to bring that up because that was a tough loss the other last week. So
yeah, we appreciate any hockey talk. We don't do much of it,
Yeah.
but we do talk about it.
Yeah.
I think one of the comments was about the Yankees. Biggie, for me, I'm not a Yankee fan, but if it was up to me, I would say they definitely need to get one more impact bat. I feel like they were lacking one impact bat. Paul Goldschmidt probably won't be back if I had to guess. So
he's probably going to retire.
so maybe bring in first baseman. I know Ben Rice is there, but Ben Rice could catch as well. That's a good dynamic to have.
You know why we need another batter and why you thought that you noticed they were missing one? Mr. Playoff Sleeper, Aaron Judge. He had a good game, the one where we came back in the series, but like,
yeah, the home big
he
home
does
run.
nothing in the playoffs, man. I mean, if we had him like he played in the regular season, we wouldn't be talking about this. I don't know what his problem is. Every year he struggles in the playoffs, every single year. And then when you sit your second best player, Jazz Chisholm, yes, I'm saying that, Yankees fans, he's our second best player. Look at the stats, look at the home run count. Second best player on the team. When you sit him because of analytics, that also hurts you too. So I'm hoping it probably would have happened by now, but please just get rid of Aaron Boone, please. I can't stand looking at him anymore. Just get him out. I don't like him at all, like genuinely.
Yeah, we
He
know
sucks.
we know. And then something else with the Yankees, I would say the bullpen was not as good as they thought it would be after the trade deadline. So I could
Yes.
see them bringing in some bullpen reassurements.
They
Just
should.
because Devin Williams, he's not under contract, so he's not a guarantee to come back.
Right. Yeah.
And Luke, the way Luke Weaver, he's gonna be a free agent. He didn't pitch too well in the postseason, so I don't know how they feel about bringing him back. and they have some other question marks along the way. But Cole will be back next year. So that would help the rotation a lot.
Yeah.
Schlittler looks like he's going to be something. Max
I
Fried
was
will
say
be
he had some
there.
good games, and
So
Max
so
Fried
yeah,
is great. Yeah.
yeah,
So
they got it. Rodon will still be there. So they got a rotation. They just need to figure out, some things in the bullpen, and then the lineup. I think they're just lacking one bat. I think they'll be okay. Besides that, depends who they bring back in terms of the outfield too, because Bellinger and Trent Grisham are also available. So the Yankees have some decisions to make, and there'll be plenty of time for it. Obviously, when the playoffs end, that's when things open up. But yeah, they should be fine. I just think they need to fix some things, and they'll be okay. But Aaron Boone is definitely an issue for them. But
I think
they,
so
they
too, but they won't
but
get rid of him.
yeah, they won't get rid of him. It's unfortunate, but let's cover some NFL news here, and then of course recap the games from last week, and preview the games coming up. But first thing was, so we all thought probably if you're talking about a head coach firing this early, was probably Mike McDaniel from Miami, but his job is still secure for another week. But there was a head coach firing. Bill Callahan from the Titans. This was his second year. He was 4-19, so wins were not coming easy at all for him. They brought him in hopes of, trying to develop a quarterback last year, which was Will Levis. That wasn't his quarterback, but try to, get him going in the right direction was a nightmare. He was hurt. He didn't play well when he was in there. And then they drafted Cam Ward with the first pick. Cam Ward, he hasn't been great, but it's a very tough situation because that team stinks over there.
Yeah, I was gonna say
And
the team's terrible. Not doing him
yeah,
any favors.
yeah, they're really, really, really bad. And Cam Ward, he hasn't had much help. And now Bill Callahan is out. Mike McCoy, who was an assistant with the Titans, he steps in. He's had some head coaching experience before with the Chargers, so he has a 27-37 record. So not great, but at least for the rest of the year, they have a respected voice leading them and see what happens. But the Titans will definitely go in a different direction coming, the offseason and all
They
that. But
have
it
to.
depends. I think they may go with the same script in terms of an offensive mind that's a younger guy. Someone like Joe Brady from Buffalo, I think, is somebody, he got Josh Allen to unlock to another level. Josh Allen was good when he came in there, but I think he got Josh Allen to another level, which is where he's been the last 2 or 3 years. I think Joe
Right.
Brady can get Cam Ward developed in the right direction. I know people are saying Mike McCarthy, but I don't see that happening with the Titans. I feel like he'll go to a team that's more ready to win or equipped to win, I
Right.
should
Yeah.
say.
They're not gonna throw him in that. That would just
Yeah,
be
and I
terrible.
don't even think he would want to. Honestly, I don't
No.
think he would even want to do that. I don't really think they're going to go with a defensive mind guy either. And maybe if it's an experienced head coach that's on the defensive side of the ball. But
John
besides that,
Gruden.
yeah, John Gruden's another guy. His name is surfacing out there, but
I
you
would love
never
to
know.
see
I
him
don't know.
coach
I
again.
don't know I don't know if he can get back into the
I don't think
NFL.
he could, but
I
I
don't
would
think he
love to
could.
see him
I think
coach
he can
again.
coach college though. It's something
I would
he
love to
could.
see that.
I could definitely see him coaching a
Shout out John
college.
Gruden. He followed me back on TikTok. So
There we go. What a guy. But yeah, I don't think he can get back in the NFL. I don't really know exactly, but I don't think he can based off
which
what he
sucks.
did. But Biggie, I have a stat for you. Since 2016, 8 quarterbacks were taken with the number 1 overall pick.
Uh-huh.
Six of their respective coaches were fired within the rookie season. So 6 of 8
Wow.
were fired within the season wasn't even over. They were just gone. That's crazy. That is
Yeah, that's
crazy work.
I never noticed that, to be honest with you. I
Y-
never really noticed that.
Yeah,
But
when I
the more
read
you
that, I
look
was
at
like,
it, yeah.
wow, that's a staggering stat. I mean, it's not that surprising just because. Oh, I was like, what happened?
What
I was like,
happened
it's
there?
not that surprising just because the number one. Usually, when you have the number 1 overall pick, your team is not good, so it kind of it's kind of tough. But
Right.
usually, when you let your coach and front office draft a certain guy, that's the guy you want them to develop together and then go to become a winning team. So I guess that's not the case with those 6 teams that fired their
No.
coach. Some other news, you already brought it up. Darius Smith retires suddenly from the Eagles. He had a 1.5 sacks in 5 games, but he was definitely, he's not what he used to be, but he was
No.
providing depth for an Eagles team that lacks at the pass rush position.
They
For a
lack in
defense, it's been
everything
struggling.
on
Yeah,
defense, JD.
yeah,
Especially
they
secondary. I think secondary is their worst. I don't think pass rushing was one of their bigger issues. We also, I didn't mention this in how you doing. We were down Jalen Carter the other night. I don't know if you
Yeah,
knew that.
yeah. I honestly, to me, I think they were trying to get cute and trying to get him an extra, few days rest, and that backfired on
Backfired.
them as well.
Backfired.
Yeah, I think that's honestly what they were trying to do. I think he could
He's
have
so
played,
good.
but yeah, he's a beast, and
Yeah.
And in terms of outside, outside edge type players, Darius Smith is one of the, more veteran players, and he's not there. Very, very confused as to why you would retire, in the season, like the
Yeah,
way,
it's weird.
very weird. I maybe in turn, I don't know, maybe something's going on in the locker room. Maybe it's a personal thing. We don't know, but it's kind of weird. It is a weird,
Very abrupt.
yeah, not something that people expected. Some other comments I don't think were expected was Tua Tagovailoa's post-game comments. So they lost to the Chargers. Their only win of the season is against the Jets, so they don't have any wins. They lost against the Chargers. They came back, made a nice comeback against LA, and then they let that game get away in the final seconds. And Tua basically said, to sum it up, that his teammates are not committed enough. He doesn't think they're committed enough. They have team meetings and stuff like that. Guys don't show up, mandatory or not. They still don't show up. So I think he feels that the guys aren't all there. And I don't really think it's a good look. I know he's frustrated and all that stuff, but this is a guy that I know he can't control getting injured, but this is a guy that wasn't there for them in terms of availability the last 3 years. And him talking about the other guys doesn't really make it a good look. And for Mike McDaniel, man, his seat is getting warmer by the week. I think if they lose to Cleveland on Sunday, I think he's out next time we have a show.
Yeah, I want to say so. The vibe in Miami is just, it's bad. Like, just everything. Not even, Mike McDaniel. Just the whole team is, in general, just
a mess
bad right now. Yeah.
They're a mess, and I don't think they're not a good team, but they're not a 1-5 bad team. I don't think they're that bad. And they left wins on the table. They could have beat Carolina 2 weeks ago. They blew that lead. They came back against the Chargers, let that one get away. There's a few games along the way this year where you think about it, they could have 3 or 4 wins right now, and then they only have 1. Yeah. Let's do around the league from week 6. So going back to Thursday night, Giants beat the Eagles 34-17. Jackson Dart does not look like a rookie. He looks really, really comfortable.
I will have to admit, Jackson Dart looks really, really good.
Yeah, he's looked really good so far. I think the big thing I've been taken away from this was the fact, his play can speak for itself. He can do whatever. Like, in terms of rookies, the play speaks for themselves. I think the fact that he has command of a locker room of, guys that can play from rookie year all the way to 18-year vets, that he has command of a room where, guys have been playing for that long and they're like, oh, I respect the hell out of this guy. And I'm going to listen to what he says. I think Biggie, I know you could talk more about, because I obviously as a baseball player, locker room setting is not as big. I feel it's more of an on-field thing. For football, to me, I feel the locker room aspect is a lot more important. And for the fact that Jackson Dart has a command of that room early and only 3 games in as starter, I think that means a lot in terms of his personality and the trust, right? It's a trust factor.
It's the leadership quality. Yeah, absolutely. The locker room relationship matters a lot more than on-field product when it comes to football. I mean, it's just, the vibe in the locker room is bad. You're not going to like that person. If that person's, not a good teammate, you're not going to respect them and you're not going to, go to war for them. And, ultimately that leads to losing. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, that's why I wanted to, ask you in terms of football sense, because as a baseball player, it does mean a lot in terms of getting to know guys and like getting what gets them, like sometimes there's certain guys that their personality is a little different than other guys because obviously everyone's different. But with football, I think it's more of that brotherhood that where they're going at each other in practice, tackling each other and doing all this. But then they're perfectly, they're fine after. I think it's a different animal. Then Sunday was the London game, the most atrocious football game I've ever seen in the history of the NFL. Down. I feel bad for everyone that went to that game in London, especially the ones that don't know what football is. I hope they don't remember this one. Broncos were able to get the win 13-11. For Denver, they needed that, get them to 4-2. But I mean, come on, man. This is the fact that this game is so bad. Broncos defense so legit. And the comment about Fields getting benched. Listen, I think that Aaron Glenn, for some weird reason, is in love with this guy. I don't get it. It's not a guy he drafted. It's not. He doesn't have ties to him, but seems like he doesn't want to get away from that. But listen, if he goes out there and he throws for 20 yards in the first half next week, which very much possible because I don't know who was catching the football for them on Sunday. And I'll be there with Biggie. I actually decided I'm going to get a paper bag, cut the holes out in the eyes and like wear it. I can't wait.
Yeah, I
can't wait.
It?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I can't wait for that. But if Fields throws for 20 yards in the first half, he has to be on the bench. You have to be able to look the other guys in the eye in their locker room and be like, yeah, this guy is not getting it done. We have to do something. We have to try something. At least with I'm not saying Tyrod Taylor is anything special, but at least he knows how to throw. Like he can read a defense and actually make a throw. But Fields cannot do that. So we'll see. But at least for this week, he's starting. But if I'm the coach, if he has a horrible first half, you gotta pull the plug. You
I
gotta
was
pull
gonna
the
say
plug early.
you have to, but will Aaron Glenn do it? That's the real question. Will he do it?
I mean, if this guy was serious about, getting a win on his record, unless he enjoys, almost winning, he's got to go out there and you do it for his own self and also for the team. Like, if you want to build something here, you have to get the respect of your locker room, and I don't think that is exactly what is going on there. Next game was the Colts beating the Cardinals 31-27. This is a great game, back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody expected it to be this close, but Jacoby Brissett played a hell of a game. 320 yards from him. I didn't even know it was on the Cardinals, honestly. I look at the TV, I have Red Zone on. I'm like, oh my God, is that Jacoby Brissett? And it was. He played great.
Yeah.
Colts had a battle at the end of that game just to get the win and make a stop at the end. Taylor went crazy once again in terms of 123 yards and a few touchdowns. He played great. Colts are 5-1, man, but I don't know if they're for real. We'll get into that in a little bit in terms when we get to the standings. I just don't know if they're that for real just because of the teams they beat, but they are beating the teams on their schedule, so you can't take that away from them. Next game was the Chargers beating the Dolphins 29-27. This is a game where the Chargers were up. They were up big. I think it was 26-13, I think, something like that.
Which one? The
Chargers-Dolphins game? I think it was 26-13.
Yeah, it was, or 29-20. It was, the final was 29-27. You're talking about at one point.
No, I'm talking about when the Chargers had a double-digit lead and they let it get away.
Yeah, 26-13, yep.
Yeah, and then the Dolphins made it 27-26, and the Chargers won the last-second field goal. Chargers started out 3-0 in the last 3 weeks. They did win Sunday, but they've been awful. I don't know what has happened to the Chargers. They're at 4-2, but they have not played good football the last 3 weeks. Patriots, one of the big surprises in the league. They won 25-19 over the Saints. This is a game they should have won by more points. Yeah. Referees were awful in that game. I know every time Red Zone cut into them, it was just a referee making a bad call on the Patriots, which is crazy to say in terms of what the Patriots used to get with the referees when Bill and Brady were there. But now they didn't really get many calls Sunday, but they were able to come away with that was a trap game for the Patriots, just coming off a very emotional win against Buffalo Sunday night, and able to get that win against the Saints on the road, who have not been that bad. They're 1-5, but they've been in every game except for one. Next game, Steelers beating the Browns 23-9. Steelers are running away with the division. I want to talk about them in a little bit as well, but they're running away with the division already.
Yeah.
It just pains me, eats away at me every single time I see the Steelers get a win just because of who's under center over there. But listen, you got to give them props. Defense has figured it out, and Rodgers is doing just enough every week to get them the win. So you can't take anything away from them.
He's winning games.
Yeah, he's winning games, having fun, running the ball. They're running the ball really well with a committee of guys, not just one. Jalen Warren, Caleb Johnson, the rookie out of Iowa, and Kenneth Gainwell. Who would have thought Kenneth Gainwell carved out a role with Pittsburgh? But he's doing. Yeah. He's there, and he's also a big time pass catching back for Rodgers, who likes dumping it off to running backs and letting them get some yards for him. So they're learning how to use the personnel. Him and Metcalf have had I think 4 games in a row now. They've connected for a touchdown, so that's heating up. I think the Steelers are lacking one receiver, so I can see them being aggressive at the deadline, trying to bring in another receiver to help out, form that offense. But listen, the Steelers defense can play like that, and they can do just enough on offense. They can make some noise in the postseason too, but I think the division is theirs to lose at this point, just because the Browns suck. Bengals, they're like I overreact.
Garbage.
Yeah, Bengals cannot win a game. I said it about a month ago. They're going to go on a 5-game losing streak, and if they lose Thursday, that will be the 5-game losing streak going into the Jets game. Yeah. And then the Ravens, they're banged up in terms of injuries, but I wouldn't count the Ravens out yet. I would not count them out yet. Yeah, they're struggling. But they have a bye week this week. Then Lamar is probably going to be back. They play the Bears at home and the Dolphins on the road, their first 2 games after the bye week. That can be 2 games that you win. You get back into it. You're 3-5. You never know after that. So I think the Ravens, they're not out of it.
2 games they should win.
Yeah, they are not out of it just yet. But we'll see. And then the Panthers, man. Panthers beat the Cowboys 30-27. That was a great game in terms of if you're an offensive guy. Bryce Young looked really good. Bryce Young has been since last year he got benched. He came back in. he has not disappointed. He's been really good for the Panthers team. When Dave Canales took over, he came in from Tampa Bay last year. Seems like he's getting the Panthers, to play for him and buy into the system there. And then with the Cowboys, they can score with the best of them, but they cannot stop anyone, man. That's going to be why they lose games. And
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the reason they're losing games. I mean, their defense sucks.
yeah, it's awful. It's one of the
Yeah,
worst defensive units I've ever seen. And Dak, they're wasting a really good year from Dak. This might be Dak's best
I was gonna
year
say
of his career
this is probably his best year that he's had, like
so far.
consistently
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
yeah. He's been unreal to start the year, and they only have 2 wins to show for it so far. Seahawks beat the Jags 20-12. This is a disappointing game, I think, for Jacksonville, just coming off a Monday night win
I was
against
gonna
Kansas
say
City.
I was so disappointed that they
Yeah.
lost. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that Seattle's good, but I think Jacksonville, that's when you want to show you're a real contender. You go out there, you beat Seattle. And they had plenty of chances. I mean, Seattle in the second half couldn't score, and Jacksonville just, turning the ball over, punting, taking sacks, whatever, and they just couldn't get that extra score they had to get. Rams beat the Ravens 17-3. It was a very low scoring game. Rams could have scored a ton
I was
more
gonna
points,
say
but the
they could
Ravens
have
forced
put up
turnovers.
so much more. Well, Puka Nakua was out for majority of the game. He
Yeah.
came back, but he was out for majority of the
And
game.
he may be
so-
out this week. He may be out
Yeah.
this week as well. So that's not good news for a Rams team that's also 4-2. But they have had their fair share of they could be better. They're okay, but they could fix some things. Raiders beat the Titans 20-10. Stinker game of the week. I think if we had to get one, that would be the one. Geno Smith went out there. Yeah, he played okay. Did just enough for the Raiders to win, and the Titans loss resulted in their coach, getting the door hit back from behind him.
Yeah.
Packers beat the Bengals 27-18. This is a game that the Packers got up, and then they let the Bengals get back into it. I actually thought the Bengals were actually going to win that game. They were up 24-18, the Packers, and then Joe Flacco had a chance at, if the Packers got stopped, Joe Flacco would have had a chance to win. I was like, yep, Joe Flacco's going to beat the Packers 2 times in the last 3 weeks. Very, very, very interesting situation. But Packers have so many pieces. It just doesn't seem like they're putting it together. They are winning, but I just feel like they could be better in terms of their record. And then the Bucks beating the 49ers 30-19. Baker Mayfield, man, we're a huge fan of him on the show, and he just keeps showing why we should be a fan of him. It's every week. It's every week, Biggie. Every single week.
I love that guy.
I mean, you're down Bucky Irving, you're down Mike Evans, you're down Chris Godwin, you lose Abuka during the game, and you still win, and you still put up 30 points. How do you do it? I don't know. He's fine. Whoever's out there for receiver just throws it up to him. Yeah, he'll catch it. Don't worry about it. And he just has that attitude to him that he doesn't care. He does not care what the situation is. He's going to go out there and win. And with the 49ers, they're really banged up. They lost Fred Warner for the year, which is another really tough injury. 49ers team that's been playing better. They're 4-2, and they're playing better than their record just because of what they're dealing with. Brock Purdy, I think, has only played 2 games this year. So, I mean, Mac Jones is doing fine. He threw for 347 yards, too. So, that was a lot. That was meaningful. And that wasn't garbage time yards either. That was good, good yardage. But we'll see. I think San Francisco's going to be fine. They just need to get healthy. I think Kittle's going to be back this week, so that's big for, the offense. I think they got some things to look forward to. Yeah. And wrap up Sunday was the Chiefs beating the Lions 30-17. Patrick Mahomes has looked really good the last few weeks. Rashee Rice is on the way. Xavier Worthy was in there making plays. They have some, they got some things to look forward to as well. And the Lions, I think the Lions thought they could have won that game. They should have won that game.
I was going to say they should have. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, they made some mistakes that, they shouldn't have made, and it cost them in the end. But the Chiefs get back to 3-3. Then Monday night, which was last night's doubleheader, 2 of the, I think the underdogs going into the game. Falcons completely dominated Buffalo. Don't know how that happened.
Bijan Robertson had a legacy game last night.
Yeah, he was outstanding. Wow. And I think that the Falcons are a team that doesn't get, much national TV exposure. Falcons could be a really good team if they can click, because Drake London's a really good receiver, top 15 in my opinion. Penix, listen, they built that offense around him. He's in the pistol at pretty much every play, just drops back a little bit when he has to make a throw. He reminds me of like Tua when he first came in the league, just in terms of hitting the open receiver.
Right,
he had really good accuracy.
Yeah.
I like that out of him.
That's a good comparison.
I know. I think it's just because the lefty, the throw or whatever, but it does remind me, of that. And I think the Falcons have a really good team. The defense, they have the number one defense in the league right now. So I, I think if the Falcons can figure that out in terms of putting it together as a whole, they can be okay. And then the Bears, man, the Bears, 3-game winning streak now, beat the Commanders on the road.
I say they
Big
actually look
time.
really good.
That's a big boy win there from Chicago.
Huge.
Ben Johnson, I think, got his signature, win to start his tenure with Chicago. And there's a game last year. Bears lost to the Commanders on that huge Hail Mary at the end.
Yep.
Commanders are a really good team, and they're 3-3 right now. It just shows that everyone is able to be beat on any week, and the Bears are not any slouch. They have a team that Caleb Williams looked comfortable in Ben Johnson's offense. Every guy is touching the ball. It's getting spread around. Looks similar to what the Lions have done, with Ben Johnson the last few years. So I think that's really good for the Bears. And then who do we got here? Oh, that's it for that. Let's do the QB who impressed us the most. So last week I said the QB to watch was Michael Penix for me, and the QB that impressed me, Michael Penix.
Okay,
We just talked about it, but it's a simple answer. Just because he threw for 250 yards and a touchdown, but he had control of the game, hit every open guy he had to hit. Should have had another touchdown if Drake London didn't step out of bounds at the end of the first half. That was a beautiful throw. Drake London stepped out at like the 1 yard line. He couldn't get in. That would have been another touchdown. But Michael Penix, man, he looked really comfortable and poised. He looked poised for a second-year player. And Atlanta's at 3-2 right now, and they're, they wouldn't be a team. I wouldn't want to play them right now.
No, I agree. And for me, I know he lost, but I got to give it to Joe Flacco, man. I mean,
4 days, right? 4 days in Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati, and he's how old now? 40?
Almost 40, I think. I think
he is 40.
40,
for him
maybe,
to go
yeah.
in there, and especially and it's just based off the fact of how the Bengals have been the last couple of games since Burrow went down. He did a good job. And the Packers, I mean, they haven't played great, but they're not a team that's horrible. I got to give Joe Flacco credit. He impressed me. I thought that was going to be an absolute dumpster fire, especially because at the beginning of the game they showed him on the bench. It looked like he was about to fall asleep.
He looked miserable.
He looked like he didn't want to be there. But he went in there and played well. I will say the Bengals had a little bit of firepower the other night compared to what we've seen since Burrow got hurt.
Yeah,
I'm going to go Joe Flacco even though he lost.
Yeah, no, I like that one. I want to pull up how he did. He had 219 yards and 2 touchdowns, and I mean he hit Chase had 10 catches.
I was gonna say
and T. Higgins had 5.
They utilized Jamar Chase.
Chase, exactly.
He had himself a game. It's like he showed up.
Yeah, exactly. And Flacco, that's what they're asking him to do. Just go out there and just get it's not going to be pretty, but you go do your job somehow. And Marty's comment with there, where I think Flacco beats the Steelers. It's very possible.
It is possible.
Short weeks. We saw what happened last week. Giants beat the Eagles. I mean, it's something that's been happening.
Embarrassed.
Flacco, listen, it depends if the Steelers pass rush gets to him. If they can get to him and sack him, he can't escape anymore. We know that. So if he's able to have a clean pocket and just hit those guys, they're going to do the rest for him. He just got to get to them. And I think that if Flacco does have an open lane to hit those receivers, they might win. It's going to be a game that's closer than people think. I know we're not truly into the spreads all that much, but I think the Steelers are like 5.5-point favorites right now. Yeah. I think the game will be closer than that. I think the Steelers will win, but if Flacco, like I just said, if he has that opportunity there, I think that the Steelers can win that. Win it closely, but I don't think it's going to be as. I was
going to say, I think either way, it's going to be a competitive game. And yes, I agree with you, Marty. Again, another reason why I'm impressed by him. He does have a cannon, still 40 years old. I mean, he looks really good. So
yeah, I mean, he looked completely miserable and was still making plays.
I was like, this guy does not want to be here right now. I was like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah,
he goes out there and plays good.
Yeah, I mean, he does what he has to do. It also depends if the Bengals defense can stop anybody on Thursday, because they let up 27 points to the Packers. 27 points is a lot, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, the Bengals definitely have a chance in that game. But if the Steelers can win it, like we said before when we talked about them, if they can win it, they are they're setting themselves up really good in the division. And that's my overreaction. I think they can win this division really quickly. I think that right now they're at 4-1. Second place is the Bengals at 2-4. So if the Steelers win Thursday, they'll get to 5-1 with the Bengals at 2-5 plus a tiebreaker. So that's basically a 4-game lead going into Week 8. So, I mean, you pretty much you have a good chance with that division there. Like I said, the Browns don't have a shot. and the Ravens
No.
are struggling in terms of injuries right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think if Pittsburgh can get that win Thursday, that basically essentially gives them a 4-game lead in the division already. It's tough to come back from anybody, coming after them. But yeah, that's my overreaction.
Okay. I was gonna say one about the Titans, but I just looked at their schedule going forward, and I don't think that's happening now. I have something with the Titans in a later segment. But an overreaction for me, um, honestly, I think it's the Giants win the NFC East.
Wow. They have to win this week, then,
They
and
have to. They
have to
have to
beat the
win.
Broncos.
They have to beat the Broncos, but I truly think we're gonna get to a point. Now again, this is why they're overreactions, guys.
Overreact.
These are purely overreactions, okay? But there's a hypothetical situation where the Eagles lose a majority of the rest of their games and the Giants keep winning and they get above them, or the Giants beat them again. So I think personally there is a shot that they beat out the Eagles in the NFC East. I just
Wow,
think that
that
there's a chance that they can really win majority of these games going forward. That's just my opinion.
all right. I mean, listen, Cowboys are
I'm not
not going
saying
to.
it's gonna happen. That's why it's an
It's
overreaction, but
possible.
it's
The
very
way,
possible.
yeah, you're. Listen, Cowboys right now they can't win consistently just because of their
Nope.
defense, and the Commanders are 3-3. They've been, they look
I was
great
gonna
and then they
say
don't look good. So
they're
it's kind of,
inconsistent, and then the
yeah.
Eagles have some glaring holes on defense and some questions on offense. So
Well, that overreaction is big on this week because if the Giants can beat the Broncos, which I mean the Broncos haven't looked great, and then the Eagles lose to the Vikings, which is
it's
possible,
possible, yeah.
then they're only separated by 1 game. But if the
Yeah,
Giants lose
right.
and the
That's what I'm
Eagles win, they're
saying.
separated
That's
by
what I'm
3.
saying.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's big. This is a big week in terms of that overreaction. Then let's preview week 7 here. We'll go through the games quickly. Like we said, Thursday night, Steelers going to Cincinnati. Always AFC North
Big one.
battles are always tough, so that'll be a big game,
One.
and we'll see what happens there. Then Sunday we have another game, international game. This one's also on London. Rams taking on the Jaguars, which we'll pick. We'll give our predictions on that later on in the show. Saints going to take on the Bears. If the Bears want to continue showing that they're a team that could possibly make the playoffs, have to go in there Sunday, get another win, get to 4-2, and move on to the next week. Don't give the Saints any hope and let them hang around in that game. Then the battle of coaches who may be fired soon, the Dolphins versus the Browns.
This literally can lead to a firing of
I think so.
This game can determine who gets fired.
Yeah, I think that's the case. And then the Patriots taking on the Titans. So a lot of storylines there. Titans with, of course, an interim coach. Mike Vrabel going back to Tennessee for the first time since he left there. Patriots playing good football. They're 4-2, leading the AFC East, which I'll get to in a little bit. Raiders going to KC, so the Chiefs can look like they can get a nice win this week just because the Raiders have been so bad. I know the Chiefs are only a game better than Vegas, which is crazy, but I think they're, you look at both teams, you can see it and say that the Chiefs are a better overall team. Your Eagles are taking on the Vikings. Well, I don't know who the Vikings are playing at quarterback. I don't know if J.J. McCarthy will be back or not. That will determine some things, I think.
It's in Minnesota.
It's in Minnesota, so I don't think it matters, honestly. I think that either quarterback has a chance at having a good game against the Eagles defense has struggled recently. One of the dumpster fire games of the week, which I'll be at, Panthers coming to New York. Probably going to be like 50 fans in the stadium. Going to be a rough
Tickets
game.
Are going for $5.
Yeah, I think I looked yesterday, somehow still like over 100, which is crazy, but it is what it is. Woody Johnson, keep it up, man. You're doing great. Giants going to Denver, big game for both teams. Broncos got to continue. If they want to win that AFC West, got to get this one. Giants want to build on momentum, got to get this one. Colts taking on the Colts, 2 good teams in the AFC, but 2 teams. Chargers. I'm sorry, Chargers. Colts going to LA to take on the Chargers. So I think second time in 3 weeks that the Colts are going to LA. They played the Rams and now they're playing the Chargers.
Yeah.
And big game for both just because the Chiefs are at 5-1, but this can be their first, good win. They did beat the Broncos, but besides that, they have not beat anybody good. And then Chargers went 3-0 against the division, and then they won against the Dolphins. But they haven't really been that great recently. Commanders taking on the Cowboys is a big game in terms of 2 teams trying to bounce back after close losses. Packers taking on the Cardinals. Packers, I don't know if Murray's going to play or not. Cardinals are not a team that, is anything to talk about. So the Packers got to go out there and get that. Sunday night, Falcons taking on the 49ers. See what 49ers, who's under QB, who's under center for them, who is, out there to catch a football for whoever's playing quarterback, who's playing defense because their defense is hurt. They have a lot of question marks, but Falcons coming off a huge win, looking to build momentum. That's gonna be. I'm gonna be locking in for that one. I like that game. I like the matchup. We'll see what happens. And then Monday night, another doubleheader. Bucks going to Detroit. So this is a game that, Baker hasn't really beat the Lions. That's kind of the only team he struggled with since he went to Tampa. So that'll be a fun game, and the Lions looking to bounce back. Both teams are really, really good, man. Both offenses are exciting to watch. We'll see. I think that's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be the best game of the week. And then the Texans taking on the Seahawks at the 10 o'clock start. So not your 7:15, 8:15, 10 o'clock start, which I think a lot of people on the East Coast. You like that just because it's separation, I think. But still, I don't know how many people are going to be watching the second half of the Texans versus Seahawks. So we'll see what happens.
I know I will.
You will. You definitely will. Yeah, but
football doesn't play on Monday. They're playing right. There's a couple games on right now, but they don't play on Monday. So
yeah. So that would be a good, late start. Texans versus Seahawks. And then before we wrap up the NFL here, QB to watch in week 7. So I'm going to stick with that game we just talked about. Sam Darnold's my QB to watch. So he's been great this year. I got to pull up his numbers to start the season through 6 weeks. But I think we should talk about, watching him this week because he's going up against the number 1 defense in terms of points allowed per game in Houston. They've only allowed 13 points a game. So that's a big challenge for a Seahawks team that's been scoring so much. So right. I like that. Like one of the better offenses against a really good defense. Sam Darnold's at 11 touchdowns and 3 picks on the year. So he's having a great year. 1,500 yards already in 6 games. 70% completion percentage, which is the highest in his career. So he's seeing the field so well. He's doing his thing, man. He's really playing well, but I think this is a good test. So keep an eye on him late Monday night.
For me, you think I'm crazy. I'm going Cam Ward.
I mean, it's not that. Listen, new coach, see what he got.
This is the perfect situation for the Titans to get a home win here. You're playing the Patriots, who are hot right now, leading the AFC East. You have your former head coach that you fired coming into your building. You have a new head coach. Your head coach just got fired. You have your interim guy in. You're Cam Ward, who's hungry to win and hungry to develop. I think this is going to be a game because it happens all the time. Teams like that have that one game where they go out there. Like I think this is a trap game for the Patriots. And I think Cam Ward goes off. I genuinely think so. Give me Cam Ward and the Titans to win this one.
And if you think about it, usually when that interim guy comes in that first game, they have some juice.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's
usually the case.
Yes,
I know my Jets did not last year.
No,
but
they
usually
didn't. But
that's the
case. This is one of those cases where I think it's going to happen. It's all lining up. I think.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I like that.
For the season, but for this game.
No, for this game, yeah, I like this one a lot. I like that. Patriots are hot in first place for the first time in like 5 years, so I like that. I like that a lot.
And Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I like that, man. I like that one a lot. And then a fantasy guy to go with this week. I know this guy's on pretty much every roster as he should be, but Jalen Waddle, since Tyreek Hill's gotten injured, he's put up 23 points and 16 points the last 2 weeks. So if he's not on your team, maybe try to swing a trade for him if you're lacking receiver depth, but great flex option. And I think that's going to continue this week against the Browns. So yeah, Browns have a good front 7, but the secondary is a little questionable.
Let's see. Fantasy guy to go with full send on this week. I don't want to go with the same person I went with last time, and I don't know. I'm just going to say Bijan Robinson. I mean, he played a fantastic game last night. I know they're at San Francisco, but I still think he's going to be very productive regardless. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was a very impressive game last night. So, I mean, if you see that and you need someone there, I would take him. Pick him up if you can, if you don't already.
All right. Yeah, that'll recap week 7 in the NFL. But actually, one more thing. We can do the standings update just because we said it in the beginning of the show. The NFL does not really have a clear-cut favorite right now just because the favorites are losing, or what you want to think the favorites are. They're not playing as great as they should be. But let's go through the standings here. I'll run through it quick. AFC East, Patriots leading 4-2 record. They're surprising everybody right now, which is crazy. But yeah, listen, Mike Vrabel, a really good coach. Drake May has looked great. They got a guy there. Bills at 4-2. Their only reason why they're not in first because they lost to New England last week. Miami at 1-5 and the Jets at 0-6. AFC North, Pittsburgh leading in first place at 4-1. Cincinnati at 2-4. Ravens at 1-5 and the Browns at 1-5. So that division is not living up to the hype that it was
That
supposed
it
to.
usually does. It usually is very,
But
very
it's
good. It's
basically
start
because of
pushing.
injuries. It's because of the injuries.
Yeah, I was
Because the
gonna say the
Bengals would be
Bengals will be better, and the Ravens will be a lot better.
better.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, the Ravens have, even before injuries, they've had some tough games just because I don't know what the hell's going on with them. But
yeah,
still, they're not playing good at all. AFC South, Colts at 5-1, Jags at 4-2, two of the most surprising teams in all of football right now. Texans at 2-3, and the Titans at 1-5. AFC West, Chargers 4-2, Broncos 4-2. Chiefs 3-3, and the Raiders 2-4. And if I had to guess, the Chiefs will win that division by the end of the year.
probably
The
yeah.
Broncos, listen, the Broncos are, their defense is legit, one of the best I've seen in a long time. Not just because of what they did to the Jets, because everybody does that, but I'm saying like over the whole season, they've been really, really good. And the Chargers, I don't think they're really as real as people think. Yeah, they'll make the playoffs, but they won't go, go far. And
Right.
Chiefs are going to start hitting their stride. I think. I know I said that last week and then they lost, but I think they're gonna start hitting their stride a little bit. And then the NFC, we got the Eagles still in first place. So the sky is falling for everyone in Philly, but they are still in first place. So
Yeah,
it's okay for now. 4-2.
won't be that way.
They're at
Be that
4-2.
way.
Commanders at 3-3. Dallas 2-3-1, and the Giants at 2-4. So the division is more competitive than people thought going in. I think just because the
Yeah,
Giants are playing a
definitely.
little better and they have some fire to them. Then NFC North, Packers leading at 3-1-1. Lions at 4-2, Vikings at 3-2, and Bears at 3-2. And this is something, Biggie, we talked about as we previewed the NFL season. Was this is a division that very possible can have 4 teams that have a winning record, and they do right now through
And here we are.
6 weeks. Yeah,
And here we are.
we said that. We said
Yeah,
that
we
it's
did.
very much possible. The only team that we were questionable on was the Bears, and
And they're playing
they
pretty
play
good
great.
right now.
Yeah, they're
They're
playing
playing
good.
really good right now.
Yeah, they are playing outstanding to start. NFC South, Tampa 5-1, Falcons 3-2, Panthers 3-3, who are playing good football as well, and the Saints at 1-5. NFC
But
West.
not a terrible 1-5 team.
No, they're really
they're
not.
really
Like, listen,
competitive.
everyone was like, "Oh, the roster is so bad, this and
Yeah,
that."
Kellen Moore's doing a good job of
He's
keeping
coaching
that
them up.
roster competitive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's coaching them up. I think if they give him time there, he'll be able to turn it around. I think he has the tools in his personality and coaching style to do that. NFC West, 49ers at 4-2, Seahawks at 4-2, Rams at 4-2, and the Cardinals at 2-4. So 3-way tie there for the NFC West with the 49ers holding the tiebreakers because they're undefeated in the division so far. And then one of the comments there, lock of the week. Biggie, I mean, we could throw that in if you want. Any
Yeah,
lock
dude,
of the
I'd
week
love
you
to do
got
that.
there? Um,
Yeah. I
let's
actually
see.
had one. I saw the comment. I started pulling up some spreads. Now I would say the Titans Patriots, but the spread's 7.5.
Oh, you
I don't
said
know
he
if
said no spread, no spread.
no
So just like
spread. Just
yeah,
okay. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go money line here then. Is what
yeah,
you're saying here, Gregory.
yeah.
All right, I didn't see that part. I apologize. Um, I honestly think, you know what? Then yeah, give me the Titans. That's my lock of the week.
Oh
Plus
wow,
280 on the money line. There it is.
wow. If I had to say, I'll give you two. The Bears or the Chiefs. I think that's a really good. Bears are playing the Saints at home, and the Chiefs are playing the Raiders at home as well. So those are definitely two games if you want to consider that. But yeah, because the other games are kind of tricky. But yeah, that'll
Yeah,
do
they
it
are.
for NFL talk. Let's do some hockey really quickly. A few headlines, and then we'll get into the standings. And then Biggie, if you want to talk about anything else in terms of hockey, be my guest because obviously you know more than me with that. But a headline that I saw was Rookie of the Year from last year. Lane Hudson agrees to 8-year, $71 million deal extension with the Canadiens. So he's played 1 year of hockey and gets rewarded big time. This is the guy that had 66 points last year as a defenseman, 60
Right.
assists, which is
And it's not
most
even the
assists
fact.
in history, right?
It's not about it's not about the fact that it's those stats. It's those stats as a defenseman,
That's what
which
I'm
is
saying. That's what I was about to
crazy.
say.
It's well
Defenseman.
deserved for him. I mean, that's impressive to have those kind of stats as a defenseman. I mean, you never see that. That's
No.
amazing. You know, if he wasn't a defenseman, I'd say Michkov was Rookie of the Year. But this guy, I mean, Lane Hudson had to be. He freaking was a defenseman and put up 66 points. I mean, when do you see that?
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. I mean, good for him. Good for him. Rookie plays 1 year and he just poop. He's good to go.
Yeah.
And other NHL news, we got Matthew Tkachuk, who was injured in last night's game, and news came in He injured his hand and is going to miss at least a month. So that's
Oh,
a crushing injury. He's always listen. He's a great player, but he's always seems like he's getting injured somehow.
right. Yeah, he does. He's off and on with injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, like last year that he played in the Four Nations and he was done after. He pretty much couldn't play after
I was
that. He
gonna
was
say
hurt.
he couldn't play after that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
I mean, but it just shows his like, tough type of player he is. He's a tough he grinds it out and you're gonna get injured sometimes when you do that. But let's do a quick NHL standings update here. Biggie, I'm gonna go through all the divisions, and then if you want to stop me at any point, like, oh, this team should be. I know it's only 4-3. Some
Yeah.
teams played only 2 games. Some teams played 4. It's
It's
a little bit
tricky.
of
Yeah,
both.
it is.
But
Yeah. I might
while I
stop
go
you for a
through,
few things
yeah,
though.
if I'm talking about a team that you're like, oh my god, this team sucks. This team is actually good. You could jump in, but
I got
we'll
one
start with the
when you
Eastern
get to
Conference
it.
here. Atlantic Division. We got the Panthers, 6 points at 3-1. I think everybody expected that. I think that was
Yeah.
something, right? That was expected.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Of course. Bruins at 3-1 as well with
Little
6
shocking.
points.
Little shocking that they're starting off really well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a team, they have a great pedigree, but it's the
Yeah, but
recently
they
hasn't
haven't been
been.
that good the last year or two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Canadians, look at that. They're at 2-1 with 4 points. I know
Again,
it's only
another
3 games in.
surprise.
Red Wings at 2-1 with 4 points as well. Maple Leafs 1-2 with only 2 points, of course.
They don't look good.
Lightning 1-2 with 2 points. Ottawa 1-2 with 2 points, and Buffalo usually where they belong 0-3 with 0
Oh my
points.
God. So I think I've mentioned on the show once or twice. I'm a
You
Flyers fan,
support, yeah,
obviously.
you support the Sabres.
Buffalo Sabres are my second favorite team. I have a love for the Buffalo Sabres. I don't know why. You're probably looking at me like, how could you do that? They're the New York Jets of they're the worst team in sports next to the New York Jets. But yeah, no, 0-3 to start the year. They're not getting anywhere. I truly am not that big of a fan of them to know what the root issues are.
Yeah,
Because they do have some decent players, but I think it's management has been the issue for the Sabres.
which I don't understand because they have the same ownership as the Bills, and the Bills
I know, and look at
that
Buffalo.
I don't get it.
Buffalo, I think obviously two different sports you can't compare, but I think talent-wise the Bills have more than the Sabres do. Sabres, like I said, they have some good guys, but talent-wise the Bills are way better. Like for the respective sport, the Bills
Yeah,
talent-wise
yeah,
are way better than the Sabres are. So I think management with the Sabres, especially because I mean it's different for the Jets because they have the Giants in New York too, and they're the same sport. But they're just a team that it's a two team city, and the Sabres just get the short end of the stick like big time. Like compared to the Bills, I mean obviously it makes sense.
yeah.
But the Sabres get nothing. You know what I mean? They're kind of like they don't get as much attention as the Bills do. Way less attention because you have other teams and cities, and I think they get equal representation, especially like
Mm-hmm.
Philly, Boston, the ones that have 4 teams, and even you look at like I'm trying to think of an example like Toronto, for example. All three of them are pretty. The Leafs are a high pedigree team. The Blue Jays right now look really good. I'd say the least out of that is the Blue Jays or the Raptors. I mean, you know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
this is just different. I don't know what it is but the city of Buffalo just doesn't seem to care about the Sabres like they did with the Bills, which makes sense. But like, come on, same ownership. I just feel like the Sabres are being neglected a little bit, and I think that's part of the reason why they haven't had any success at all ever.
Yeah, I still don't get it. It's something I
I
always
don't
used to
either.
say with
Yeah.
the Knicks and the Rangers, same owner, and the Knicks sucked for so long. I never
Yeah.
understood,
Right.
never
That's
understood
the
it,
same
never
thing. Yeah.
understood it. You can hire a great executive for your Rangers team, but you can't hire one for the Knicks. I never understood that. But
Agreed.
let's do to the Metro Division here. Hurricanes, they only played 2 games. This is all before any games have been played today, so this is coming into today's games. Hurricanes at 2-0 with the 4 points. Capitals 2-1 with 4 points. Devils at 2-1 with 4 points. Penguins at 2-1 with 4 points. Rangers at two and
Surprisingly.
two with 4 points. So all those teams right now, the first 5 teams in the division have tied for first with 4 points. I know Rangers have played more games and all
Yeah,
that,
and
but
I knew coming into the year the Metro was going to be the most competitive. I
competitive,
mean,
really
the
competitive.
Atlantic is just not there yet. Like they have when you have, Toronto, Ottawa, Buffalo, and even for the last couple of years Montreal and Detroit, you're just not going to be competitive. The
No,
Bruins have ran that for the Bruins and Panthers have ran that division for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
Panthers is a more recent, but the Bruins before that.
and the
But
Lightning,
yeah,
as
and the
well.
Lightning too. Yeah, and the Lightning, but now the Lightning aren't
They're
good
not as
anymore.
good. Yeah,
No, but the Metro, it's someone different every year. It seems like it's either Carolina, Washington, or the Devils, and then the Rangers too are in that mix. See what I'm saying? See where I'm going with this?
yeah,
Everyone's in the mix, no matter
yeah.
what, at some point in the year.
Yeah, and when you look at the end of the year, I think the wild card teams will be from the Metro. I think it's just
Yes,
going to be that good of
absolutely.
a
I mean,
division.
it's just how it works. I mean, the
Yeah,
Metro's
yeah,
the most. I'm glad to be a fan of a metropolitan team because it's
me
so
too.
competitive.
It really is, and I like
It's
how
great.
close and most of these teams are kind of
Oh
close
yeah, it's
to each
awesome.
other.
Yeah,
Atlantic is not really the case. There's some teams that are far apart.
yeah. You got
Um,
Florida, Tampa, Montreal, Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit.
I never
Uh,
understood why Buffalo wasn't in the Metro.
Yeah,
I don't get
maybe
that.
because they're closer to Canada. Because
Yeah, I
Buffalo's like
guess.
5 minutes from Niagara Falls
Yeah,
and
I guess.
Ontario.
I guess.
Not Niagara Falls. Fort Erie's the name of the town. I don't know. Don't ask me how I know that. You know me with stuff like that. I just know Fort Erie, Ontario is the town that borders Buffalo or like is across the river from Buffalo.
Hmm.
Don't ask
Yeah,
me how I
no,
know that.
yeah, no, but I was always confused by that. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
Buffalo, they could be in the Metro.
they could
And
be.
then to round out the Metro was the Flyers at 1-1-1 with 3 points, Columbus at 1-2 with 2 points, and then the Islanders in last place
They're
with
not very good.
0 points.
Yeah,
Unfortunate for them. Which
yeah.
I mean, I don't mind because I don't like the Islanders, but
You're right. Yeah.
Western Conference, the Central Division, Avs, the Avalanche at 3-0-1 with 7 points. So the most in the league so far that we've gotten to. They got 7. Nashville at 2-0-1 with 5 points. Dallas at 2-0 with 4 points. Winnipeg 2-1 with 4 points. St. Louis 2-1 with 4 points. Minnesota, the Wilds, they got 4 points at 2-1 record. Blackhawks 1-2-1 with 3 points, and Utah. Is it the Mammoth? Am I right?
Yeah, the
Mammoth.
Mammoth. Yep.
There are 1-2 with 2 points. So this is another division, very, very good,
Well,
competitive
yeah, it's the Metro
division.
and the
It's
Central,
like the
dude. I mean,
Metro.
look
I
at
was gonna say
yeah,
the Central is like the Metro in the East, and then the Pacific is like the Atlantic in the
and you know what's
like that.
crazy too? The Pacific Division, you have that one team, the Oilers, and in the Atlantic Division, you have the Florida Panthers.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
same
it's the
thing. The
same. It's
Central and
just a
Metro are
different,
competitive, and Atlantic and Pacific aren't very competitive. They have
just
one or two
dominated by.
really good teams, and one team
Yeah.
that just dominates it. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
look at the
Yep.
last two Stanley Cup matchups.
Yeah. The Pacific is occupied by the Kraken 2-0 with 4 points. Vegas at
Yeah.
1-0-2 with 4 points. Edmonton 1-0-1 with 3 points. And they're beating the Rangers right now 1-0, so that can get them some more points. The Kings 1-2, 1-2-1 with 3 points. Anaheim at 1-1 with 2 points. The Sharks don't have a win or a loss in regulation, just 2 overtime losses. They got 2 points out of that. Vancouver at 1-2 with 2 points, and Calgary at 1-2 with 2 points. So yeah, that'll wrap up
That bottom
the
three,
NHL
man. Oh my
standings.
God. I mean,
Oof,
Vancouver's okay, but Calgary, San Jose,
Sharks,
and
man.
you throw Anaheim in there too. Yeah, San Jose's terrible.
Oh my God, they might be the worst team in the league.
They probably will end up being probably the worst. San Jose will probably end up finishing last in the league. I think they did last year, didn't they?
I believe they did. Yeah, I
It was
believe they
them or
did.
Chicago at one point. I know.
Yeah, yeah,
Was
they were both. They were both. They were
not
brutal,
great.
brutal records.
Yeah.
Let's go to the MLB. We'll do this really quickly. So a bit of news was Padres manager Mike Shildt has decided to retire
Yep.
from the Padres, which I think that that's for the Padres is definitely a job that will be coveted if you're that organization. You want to get a highly qualified guy in there because you have a good roster. You just got to
Right.
get the
I was
most
just gonna
out of
say
them.
that. I feel like if they get a really good manager, this could be their shot at beating the Dodgers and winning a World Series because they have the roster to do it. They
Yeah.
absolutely do. And again, I think I mentioned this too. Like the Sabres, I like second favorite team for me in baseball is the Padres. I love the Padres, man. Big fan of Manny Machado. That's why. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're if they get a good manager, like a really good one, they're all they need to do is beat the Dodgers. They win the World Series.
I mean, Bruce Bochy's out there. I mean, I don't know how he would feel about going to San Diego after being with San Fran all
Yeah,
those
I don't
years,
know.
but that's a guy that you got to consider just because he can get the most out of that team. I mean, he won with the Rangers, and that was a team that really didn't have any success. And the
Right.
Padres have had success, so that's what I'm saying. Like he goes in there, he can do something for them. We'll see what happens, but definitely they can get a good name in there. And then some other news, which is really only the playoffs. So now in the the ALCS and the NLCS time, Before next week, this time we probably will know who's in the World Series. Maybe the day after that, but we will know. We have a good idea at least. In the AL, the Mariners are up 2-0 against the Blue Jays. So the Mariners had basically no rest after beating the Blue Jays. They won the game. They had a day off. The next day they had to go play in Toronto. So there was no day off because they had to travel, of course, to Toronto. And they went in there and they beat them. And then they beat them again yesterday. So now they're traveling back to Seattle up 2-0.
They put up a total of 13 runs in those 2 games too.
Yeah, they listen. The Mariners. We said this. They have everything you need to get to a World Series.
Right there in front of them.
It really is. You sound like Aaron Boone saying that, but yeah.
But my God, don't do that to me.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he says. It's right in front of us. He always says that.
No, it wasn't. You suck as a manager. It was not in front of you. Even if it was, you'd walk right by it.
It's behind them now. But the Mariners are in prime position, to make something happen. And of course, it's the best of 7, so you got to win 4. So they need 2 more wins. And then the Dodgers beat the Brewers last night 2-1. And now they're beating the Brewers again 2-1. So the Dodgers are up 1-0 in the series, and they're looking to make it a 2-0 advantage as well. So I mean, by the way these series are going right now, by the end of this week, we might know who's in the World Series. But the way these two teams are winning, we might. I feel like there's mismatches in terms of this series, just because the Mariners are so loaded with everything, and the Dodgers, they're superpower. They can't be stopped by anybody. Let's do our last main topic here before we hit our last segment, which is the pick'em. James Franklin, man, he full of grace from him. He was in the semifinal game of the CFP last year to being fired 6 games into the season. So he's been fired by Penn State. He lost 3 straight games. It started with Oregon on whiteout night, which I don't think was a big deal. It was, but not as big of a deal that, the next 2 games, UCLA
I think it
on
now
the road.
is a little bit because of Oregon's recent loss to Indiana.
Yeah, but, that's true.
I think the UCLA
but at the time,
looks like the best one right now.
Yeah, UCLA. I mean, they lost to UCLA and then Northwestern. Those are both embarrassing.
That was embarrassing. That was really embarrassing.
Northwestern coming to your place. I mean, UCLA obviously is beyond embarrassing just because they never win.
Yeah, but it doesn't look as bad as. I mean, I would personally argue now that the Oregon loss looks worse.
Yeah.
UCLA looks good. Jerry Neuheisel has kind of flipped the page with them, I think.
Yeah. And Northwestern coming to your place and beating you, that's another,
that one's bad. That's bad. That one's embarrassing.
And for James Franklin, I don't know. I feel he's going to get a job regardless, just because, he's been in Penn State for 12 years and he's had success. Maybe not what they want. Games. Yeah, he just can't win a big game. Maybe he can get to another program and build something there. But the news that connects with this was Matt Rule, man. He's getting so much attention for that job. So I was like, why is this guy getting so much attention? I know he's an NFL coach. He's coached college, had success. But you look at it, he's from State College, so he has that connection. And he also played at Penn State.
I was gonna say he's from the area. He played for Penn State. Matt Rule's a big Northeast guy. Obviously being at Baylor and being with the Carolina Panthers and now at Nebraska, he is a Northeastern coach. Like, you know what I mean? I think of guys from the Northeastern coach, and I like that in college football because being a fan of a Northeastern team, nobody really cares about college football compared to the South. You know what I mean? No one. Yeah. It's not a huge deal in the Northeast because there's not as many good teams. But I respect the guys who are, successful from being coaches for Northeast teams, like Matt Rule at Temple. A little fun fact, actually. Going to plug my uncle here. He played at University of Buffalo. Matt Rule was the defensive line coach at Buffalo when my uncle played there. So
wow, that's
he
good.
has Matt Rule's phone number, by the way.
Nice. Maybe get Matt Rule on as a guest.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He becomes head coach at Penn State. We got to get him on.
Got to get him on. Yeah.
DP might pass out on the show if we had him come on. Yeah. Oh my God. He might. He might.
Peace out.
We can work on that. We can work on getting Matt Rule on the show.
Yeah.
That would be great. That would be great. Now you brought that up, man. Oh. Man, we got to think about that. We actually got to think about that. But it is an intriguing thing because I could see it happening. And Dylan Raiola, his quarterback at Nebraska, he's still not going to be able to go to the draft until his junior year. So he has 1 year, to get drafted. So I could see him bringing him with Penn State. That improves his draft stock tremendously going to Penn State. And this is a guy that I think he could be a really good NFL player. But that gets him more exposure at Penn State, just one of the premier programs. That'd be that'd be something. I'm rooting for that. Bill Belichick shuts down any rumors. He said, "I'm not leaving UNC." I think he's the biggest
Doesn't
liar out
change
there.
anything. They're still a mess.
Yeah, they're a mess, and I think he's a liar. I think he's gonna run out of there when the season is over. I don't
I
think he
say he's
wants any
gone
part
after
of that.
this year.
Yeah, it's
Ruin the
not.
program.
Yeah, ruin the program and also like bet on his
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 resume.
resume, man. Not a I don't even know why he took the job in the first place. He kind of knew what was going to happen with that, but yeah, it is what it is. Texas A&M loses a running back. They're good, really good stud running back Le'Veon Moss for significant time. So Moss is out. They didn't really give a timetable, so that's when it's not too good.
That's how you know it's not good. Yes.
Yeah, a bad ankle injury. Teams at 6-0 and they're fourth in the country, so they can't afford to lose. A guy like this, and
Right. Yeah.
hopefully it doesn't hurt them, but it might because Moss is such a
Yeah.
good
I mean,
player.
we can look at their future schedule and make that assumption here. Let me get this up. I mean, we could bring this up now if you want, since we're on the topic.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
because you lose a player like that can hurt you. They play Arkansas this week, which they should win. So that shouldn't be much of a problem. Then they're at LSU. That could be a bad game. Missouri too, who's also pretty good right now.
Yeah,
South Carolina, that should be a win. They've kind of fallen off. Samford, that should be a win. Not Stanford, Samford.
Samford. Yep.
Their logo's that dog. They're actually 0-6 right now. Samford, I did not know they were 0-6. Wow. Did not know the Samford Bulldogs were 0-6 and they've lost. Wow. Oh my God. I didn't know they were this bad. Wow. Jesus. West Georgia beat him 34-3. Oh Lord.
Oh man.
Citadel put up 40 on them. Oh my God. Jeez, Samford, I thought was better than that. Wow. But yeah, and then they closed with Texas, who's kind of had a little bit of a resurgence. They had a really good game this weekend, so it potentially could hurt them a little bit, but I think they still should be okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they are playing quality for the most part, quality teams. So
Yeah.
that will definitely hurt them in some way. But let's recap week 7, where a lot happened. Another great week of college football. Let's get to the main headlines, and then Biggie will take over and talk about things that I don't really care about that much. But I want to hear it because I didn't really think about it. But Ohio State handles Illinois on the road. This is a conference game, of course. Ohio State has been really good this year. They've taken care of everyone they've had to take care of.
And
Offense
even if they
is
don't
great.
play great, they still do.
Yeah, and they don't play great, and they still win by double digits, which shows how good they are. Julian Sayin in that offense, terrific. It doesn't seem like it skipped a beat recently. The beginning it was a little tough, but I think the last 3 weeks they've looked outstanding, and they're doing it every single way that they have to. And then big win by them, and then Indiana, man, I know it was a 7-3 matchup going into the weekend. I think it was the biggest shock of the year so far.
Yeah.
I really think so. Indiana beats Oregon on the road by double digits. 10-point win for Indiana. Fernando Mendoza, man. Fernando Mendoza is looking more and more like a top NFL draft pick next year. So good for him.
He is.
And Kirk Cignetti, man, he knows how to win. That's all I got to say. He knows how to win football games. And then we got the Ole Miss, man. Ole Miss barely gets a win over Washington State, which is supposed to be, that'll be like, we'll win this game. We'll be blowing them out in the third quarter. Yep. They only won by 3 points. Biggie, do you think this can hurt them a little bit? I know they didn't really lose anything in the rankings, but over time,
they still won the game. But personally, this could open a little bit of eyes on Ole Miss. I mean, obviously they've played pretty good up to this point. Obviously, weren't very as high as they are now, or as high as they were at the beginning of the year. But but going forward, they have a really tough schedule. They play Georgia Saturday. They're at Oklahoma.
Wow.
They're playing South Carolina, who, again, like we said, kind of fell off. They're hosting the Citadel, who they should beat. Good old Citadel. Hosting
always
Florida.
playing the top programs.
Yeah, they are. They are. Citadel's always playing top teams. I remember that 1 year. It was a tie game at half with Bama.
I remember that. I was actually just about to say when they played Bama.
Yeah, and then Florida, they're hosting Florida, who's had a little bit better of a, point up into a little bit better of a season up to this point, I should say. And then they're at Mississippi State, who got our hopes up on them a little bit, and kind of fizzled out. Kind of lightning in a bottle type thing when they played Tennessee tough.
Yeah,
right?
so
they played,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. They got They got some work to do, but they escaped with a win, so that's all that matters.
Yep, still
Oklahoma,
undefeated.
yeah, Oklahoma embarrassed by Texas in the sense of, yeah, you only put up 6 points in a game that they should have put up more. I
Should
think
have won by double digits,
yeah,
I
and
think.
the way Texas was going, now I think Texas just woke up again. I think this was
Yeah,
a game that gets them going in the right direction. Oklahoma, I think, still has a chance at the playoff, but they need to be kind of perfect the rest of the way.
yeah,
And John Mateer was definitely not ready to play in that game. No, no, I don't think he was. And let's do it. Bama keeps moving along. They won a big game on the road against Missouri, who was a really good team. They took care of business. Bama, after getting beat week one, just keep going. Georgia and LSU pick up double-digit conference wins. Michigan gets blown out against USC on the road. And yeah, Biggie, you have any other games that you really would like to get into a little bit?
yeah. Let's scroll through a little bit. Let's go. This game shocked me a little bit. Jacksonville State and Sam Houston. Sam Houston's 0-6, and they were fighting with Jacksonville State. Sam Houston, we know, just recently moved up to FBS. They've been playing bad since they came up, um, and they almost beat Jacksonville State. They were playing them really really tight. I was kind of shocked by that. That was a Thursday night affair. And then let's see, Rutgers and Washington. I mean, that was a little disappointing.
They
They
got
won
blown
38-19.
out.
They got blown out. Rutgers is one of those teams that get my hopes up for as well, and just doesn't really live up to that hype. And then they get in close games. You're like, okay, well they're playing good teams. They're playing close good teams, and you go to Washington and lose by that much. It's just not good. Let's see what else we have from Saturday. Let's talk about Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. That was a 35-20 game. A little
A
too
little
close for
close.
comfort there.
Yeah,
A little too close for comfort there. USC absolutely dominating Michigan. We didn't even talk about that game. I mean, wow. USC looks pretty
dominated.
good. Their defense figured it out a little bit compared to how the beginning of the year went. Notre Dame wins big over NC State. NC State is my biggest disappointment of the season. They're 4-3, but they haven't been playing good at all. Their four wins are against Campbell, who that game didn't even have a money line on it. That's how big of this, how big that was. They lost to Virginia Tech, lost to Duke, beat Wake Forest, who's playing a little bit better, but still not great. I'm not fully sold on them. Beat Virginia, which was kind of surprising at the beginning of the year, and then beat East Carolina, which is a team that you should be if you're a Power Four school. But yeah, no, they're one of my more disappointing teams. I thought they'd be a little more competitive this year, but they really just haven't been. Despite a 4-3 record, they have not been playing their best football. Um, Pitt beating Florida State. How about that one?
Big win. Yeah, big
Is
win.
this the downfall of Florida State now? Mike
They've
Norvell
lost.
out it.
They've lost like three in a row now, right? They started out
Yes.
good and they lost
Yeah.
three in a row.
They lost
Yeah,
to the big upset against Virginia in double overtime. Lost to Miami, which
Miami and out.
I think Miami should be number one in the country right now, but that's not my choice. And they just lost to Pitt. So I mean, Pitt looks really good, but Florida State, this might be Norvell's last year at the helm.
If they keep losing like this,
Yeah. UCLA kills Michigan State on the road. I
two in a
mean,
row, 2 in a row
two
for
in a row
UCLA.
now, and they're just absolutely crazy. Huge turnaround for them. Um, Big one that I was surprised about was Bowling Green beat Toledo.
Wow,
I did not expect that at all. Toledo Rockets have been pretty decent this year. Bowling Green has been okay too, but wow, they beat Toledo 28-23, which is, for the MAC, that's pretty solid. We can officially say UMass should go down to FCS. Kent State put up 42 points on you guys. That's their first FBS win in 3 years. UMass, you suck. Go back down to FCS or just cut your football program. You're 0-6 right now. You lost to Bryant University week 2. It's just embarrassing. UMass is an embarrassment. Nebraska barely beating Maryland. Nebraska just, Matt Rule's finding ways to win out there, man. It really is. And Maryland, they started off the year pretty well and, lost to Washington, and then you lose this one. They play UCLA next, so that game should be really interesting coming up. UCLA and
Yeah,
Maryland. That's actually a really intriguing matchup. I like that one a lot. Navy and Temple was a 1-point game. The Temple Owls fall to 3-3. Navy's 6-0. No one's talking
six
about
and
that.
zero. Look at
The
that.
midshipmen are undefeated.
Listen, the
Uh,
group of five spot is up for grabs in the CFP. Imagine Navy.
you imagine
I mean,
Navy
they would
gets
have
in.
to beat. I think they would have to beat Notre Dame at some point.
They
But
would, which I right now I don't see happening, but you
yeah,
never
you
know.
never know.
Never know. Um, Trent Dilfer's out at UAB. They lost to FAU 53-33. Just, UAB,
Not a good player or coach, I guess.
no, not a good anything, really. Iowa shuts out Wisconsin 37 nothing. That one I did not expect. That's a statement win by the Hawkeyes there.
Mm.
Statement win right there. Purdue and Minnesota was a one touchdown game, one score game, 27-20. Kind of expected that. Clemson puts a beating on BC. Clemson going forward, they have SMU at home. I think that's an interesting matchup. They have Duke, Florida State, Louisville, Furman, and South Carolina. I think they pick up at least 3 wins there, maybe. So they might, they'll make a bowl game possibly. Yeah, they'll make a bowl game, but we'll see. Just a down year for Clemson, though, as we know.
Yeah,
Not the best season for them. UTSA putting up 61 points on Rice. Rice isn't the best team. UTSA is not the best either, but wow, 61-13 final score of that one. And then the Troy Trojans, 4-2 on the year, just beat Texas State in overtime. Troy looks pretty decent this year. They fought with some FBS, some like top, Power 5, top Power 4 schools. Troy's FBS. I was about to say, FBS teams. They are FBS themselves. They've had some, pretty tight knit games this year. So yeah, good for them. Good for Troy. And yeah, that's all I got. You see, I get into the deep matchups no one's
yeah.
talking about.
That's exactly. Listen, you know me. I don't care about that stuff, but that's why you're here. You do. You like that.
I
You
do.
care about. You care about the things I don't care about, and it works. That's all.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'll take care of the headlines because those are really the only games I care about. Like, but you could take care. You know the other ones, so that's good. I like that.
Give me some
No one,
AAC and MAC football on a
no
Wednesday.
other
Give me
show
it.
is talking about Troy. That's all I
Yeah.
got. No one else. You
Or
want
the
your Troy?
Citadel.
You want the Citadel content. This is your show.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're here for. But let's preview week 8, and then let's do our top 25 rankings. So I'll do it again. So week 8, LSU with the test on the road against Vanderbilt. LSU hasn't really played to me that great the past couple of games, so this is a good test for them. Ole Miss playing Georgia, like you mentioned before. Ole Miss has to travel to Athens. That'll be a really, really good game. I think Georgia's going to win this one, even though they're below Ole Miss in the rankings because they have a loss and Ole Miss doesn't. Tennessee versus Bama. I think Bama's going to win again. I think Bama's just they're just clicking on all cylinders right now. I just don't think they have any flaw. I mean, they lost game 1 and they have not looked bad since. Every
Right.
week they
Yeah.
go out there and they look great. USC against Notre Dame. I can't wait for that one Saturday night. I actually be able to watch the whole game for once for the first time in like a month.
Yeah.
Utah versus BYU and nice little rank game. 15 I think BYU is something like that. 17, one of those numbers. And then any other games you got here? I know there's games going on right now, but we got some
Yeah,
other
we
games,
got
of
we
course,
got
as
3
well.
college football games going on right now, JD. You know how much I love that? Because
That's great.
guess what?
Tuesday, Wednesday, every night is covered except for
I get to
Sunday.
fall asleep and watch college football on a Tuesday.
That's
That's the
nice.
peak. This is the peak point of the year because there's college football on, Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
That's my favorite time of the year. I love watching Wednesday night games, Tuesday night games, Thursday night games when the Eagles aren't on. I watch college football on Thursday over Thursday night football. I'm gonna literally. I'll tell you right now. I'm gonna watch Tulsa and Eastern Carolina over the Bengals and the Steelers. That's just me. I know you think I'm nuts, but it's what I'm doing. But yeah, right now New Mexico State is up on Liberty. 12:19 left in the fourth quarter, 27-20. South Alabama and Arkansas State is a 7-3 game. South Alabama is up on them. 7:20 left in the third, and we're at halftime. FIU 19-6 on Western Kentucky right now. Western Kentucky is 5-1 this year, and FIU they're not great. They're
Yeah.
up big at the half. How about that? On the road too. That's pretty crazy. Delaware plays tomorrow. The Blue Hens, big fan of the Blue Hens. They're playing at Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State struggled with Sam Houston last week. It's a shorter week for them. They played on Thursday. They're playing on Wednesday tomorrow. I think Delaware gets this win. The Blue Hens are playing really well for their first year in FBS. The loss to Western Kentucky 2 weeks ago was obviously a bad loss. They fought with Colorado for a little bit, beat UConn, beat FIU by a good amount. And going forward, they might. I know they can't yet, but they'll have a good enough record where if they could, they'd make a bowl game. I think the
Hmm.
schedule going forward is pretty favorable for them the way they're playing right now. And then we also have tomorrow UTEP and Sam Houston. That game, lower tier team. Sam Houston's probably going to go 0-7 at this point. I just don't think they're a very good program at all. They should have probably stayed down at the FCS level. I know they're really good at the FCS level, but they're not translating well to FBS at all. Tulsa and ECU, like I was just talking about, this should be kind of an intriguing matchup. I don't think Tulsa's very good at all, and East Carolina's hit or miss. And then Friday, it's some big Friday games, Miami and Louisville. This is a big test for Louisville, I think. This could be like, even if they don't win, which I don't think they're going to. I think Miami, best team in the country right now. I'm going to keep saying it. But this is a good test to see if Louisville is, decent at least, because they've had some good wins this year. They're 4-1. So if they play Miami close, we can kind of say that Louisville, okay, they might be, a pretty good team in the ACC. Nebraska at Minnesota, that shouldn't really be much of a game. Nebraska should win pretty easily, I think. San Jose State, Utah State. I think Utah State should win that one. San Jose State hasn't been anything too impressive. Cal and UNC, Cal should win this. I think it's going to be a double-digit win for Cal. I just think North Carolina is going to finish with maybe 3 wins at this point.
Hmm.
And yeah, Pitt Syracuse, again, I talked about it earlier. Just I hope I see better play out of Ricky Collins. An intriguing game on Saturday, UConn at Boston College, a little New England matchup there.
Yeah, rivalry.
I think UConn beats them. Give me
Okay.
the UConn Huskies. BC's favored 1.5. Give me the Huskies. Give me UConn plus 1.5 there. Um, let's see what else we got. Eastern Michigan, Miami, Ohio. Eastern Michigan, I talked about it before. They got the win over Northern Illinois, who is 1-5 this year. They're not very good, but neither is Eastern Michigan. So I think Miami, Ohio should get that one. Kent State off their freaking huge win against UMass, who is terrible, but they play Toledo. I think Toledo is going to bounce back this week. Buffalo at UMass. Buffalo wins this by 50. Purdue and Northwestern. Northwestern, I think this game's going to be pretty close. Expect a competitive game there. SMU and Clemson. I don't really know how that one's going to go. I think SMU beats them, genuinely. I think SMU's got it. They've looked pretty good as of late, despite a slow start from them.
Hmm.
Coastal and App State. App State has looked decent. They're always pretty good, but Coastal's been kind of disappointing this year. Give me App State in that one. Temple at Charlotte. Temple should win this one by 20 points, I think. Temple's way improved from last season. They might finish. Hey, looking at their schedule, there's a possibility they finish 6-6 this year. They make a bowl. There's a possibility we see the Temple Owls in a bowl game. They have Charlotte, who they should beat. They're at Tulsa, which could be a tricky game, but I think they can get that
Yeah.
one. They have a shot against East Carolina. I don't know if they're beating Army. Army's kind of this year. They're hit or miss as well. They're not beating Tulane, and they're probably not beating North Texas. But still, they're 3-3 in the year. If they win 3 of those, they're in a bowl game. So I could see them winning 3 of those and making a bowl game. Like, seriously, I see that happen.
Possible. Yeah,
See
it's
the
definitely
Temple Owls in
possible.
a bowl game. That'd be awesome to see, because they've been, kind of a down talk of college football, and I always support them because they're from Philly, of course. Penn State at Iowa. We're gonna see how this goes. This is gonna be intriguing. Maryland, UCLA is
Iowa's
gonna
got a
be.
great defense, so
They do. They
it's a
do.
challenge.
They just had a shutout in Big Ten play, which is crazy. Maryland UCLA is going to be a really good game too. I'm actually going to try and watch. That's on FS1. That's Saturday night. I'll probably pop that on my phone in the Carrier Dome on Saturday night before Syracuse takes
Nice.
off. Syracuse is at 7:30. South Florida should get a 30-point win against FAU there. Oregon State, they're playing Lafayette College on Saturday
Wow.
at 10 p.m. Who's scheduling these games? What? Why is Oregon State hosting Lafayette in the middle of the year?
Yeah.
What is this? What is this? Lafayette College. They're in
Yeah, it's in
Easton. They're
PA. Yeah.
they're in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. What are they doing? And Oregon State's 0-7, but they might get their first win against Lafayette College, but who knows? They're 0-7. Lafayette is a decent team in the FCS ranks. That's a weird game. That's such a weird game. Lafayette at Oregon State. What is that? That's an
What?
odd matchup,
That
but I
is
like it.
odd. That is
That's
very
why I
odd.
like it so much, and it's on the CW network, so you'll be able
Oh,
to
the good
watch
old
it.
CW. The
You'll
good
be able
old
to watch it.
CW.
It's on. It's that 10 o'clock kickoff slot. That's why it's on. I will be watching that 100%. The Lafayette Leopards, baby. Let's go Leopards. PA represent.
Oh my God. Lafayette.
And that's it for me.
All
See,
right,
this is
let's.
why you like having me for college
Yeah,
football.
exactly.
Talk about
I
Lafayette and
honestly
Oregon
had
State.
I had no clue that was a game this week. I'm gonna be honest
Let
with
me
you.
look at the line on that real quick before we move
Oh
forward.
man.
I'm very curious. I want to see the line on that game.
Go ahead.
There is none. Makes
Oh,
sense.
there is none. Okay, yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be their one win of the year, I guess. Let's do the top 25 rankings. Biggie, I'll let you do the first 13, and then I'll swoop in there for the last 12.
All right. Let's
And then
get
we'll
her
do our
rolling.
pick 'em, and then that's it. We'll wrap it up.
Yes, we will. Okay, so let's get to our standings here. Oh wait, hang on. We gotta get to the top 25. Sorry, just give me a moment. Should have had this on hand already. That's my bad. Where is it? Just give me 1 second. I gotta pull it up. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. All right, AP poll top 25. Let's get her rolling. Number one's Ohio State. Again, I think you can make an argument that Miami should be number one. That's just me. I think Miami's better than Ohio State. I think if they played each other, Miami would win. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is Miami. Again, should be number one in my opinion. Indiana at 3, understandably. Huge win for them this week. I think they're a favorite for, the Big Ten now. Definitely them and Ohio State, obviously. A&M, they look pretty good. Number 4, Ole Miss drops down a spot. Understandably, they almost lost to Washington State. Bama's back up there, man. They're back. They're picking it back up. I think that Florida State game at the beginning of the year was a fluke. Texas Tech, they look really good as well. They're up 2 spots at number 7. Oregon drops to 8. They drop 5 spots, which is understandable.
Yeah.
I still think they're a pretty good team. I don't know how they're going to pan out, but I still think they're a pretty good team. Georgia at number 9. They move up a spot. They're Georgia still. It's like how Bama used to be. They're Georgia. You know what I mean? But I don't think they're as good as they've been the last couple of years. LSU moved up a spot. They're at number 10, which is, again, that's a team that's struggling a little bit now. There's the wheels are kind of falling off a little bit for them. Tennessee, another team that has had some questionable games. Still winning, though, obviously. But they've had some questionable games so far this year. Georgia Tech at number 12, they look great, but they are kind of. I think this is a point where they might skip a little bit. So we'll see going forward with them. Notre Dame at 13, they moved up 3 spots. They put up a beating on NC State, which if you're Notre Dame, if you're the team you're supposed to be, Notre Dame and all that, you should beat NC State by a good amount because NC State, like I said, they're one of the more, me being an ACC fan, I follow every ACC team and I talk about my dark horses and who I think is going to finish last and who's going to be middle of the pack, team to watch. NC State was my team to watch this year. One of the dark horses for me. They're not playing great football right now. I'm a little disappointed in the way Georgia and NC State's playing. So.
All right. I'll take over here. I got Oklahoma at 14. They're down 8 spots after their loss to Texas. BYU at 15, up 3 spots. Missouri at 16, moving down 2 spots after losing a close one to Bama. Vanderbilt at 5-1. I'm sorry, Vanderbilt at 17. They're up 3 spots. 18 is Virginia. They're up a spot. South Florida at 19. They're up 5 spots. So right now they would be the group of 5 team in the CFP if the season did end today, which of course it's not. Number 20, USC. So they're back in the rankings after a little bit of a break. Texas at 21. They're also back in the rankings after a little bit of a break. So they're the second 2-loss team to be in the rankings with Notre Dame. At 22, Memphis. They're 6-0. They moved up a spot. 23 is Utah, 5-1. They were unranked before this week. 24, Cincinnati. They were also unranked. They're at 5-1.
Finally.
Yeah, Cincinnati
gets themselves in. I love it.
They've been playing good. They've been playing really good. They're
really well. They finally got in.
Their only losses of the year is to who they lose to. I feel like it was a ranked team.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I forget exactly who it was, but here I'll pull it up. But yeah, no, finally the Bearcats get themselves in.
I don't know why I feel like it was Nebraska. I feel like it was, but
they're higher than Nebraska. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't make sense. But I feel like it was them.
It might have been. Hang on, my phone's glitching out on me. I'm trying to pull up the Cincinnati schedule here on the ESPN app, which is being slow. But go ahead, finish talking.
Yeah, then we got 25, which is Nebraska, 5-1. They're also unranked. And then teams to receive votes was Illinois, Michigan, Washington, UNLV, Navy, Mississippi State, Tulane, and San Diego State. The teams that dropped out of the rankings were Michigan, Illinois, Arizona State, Iowa State, and Florida State. And teams that replaced them were USC, Texas, Utah, Cincinnati, and Nebraska.
It was Nebraska, JD.
It was, right?
They did lose.
I was going to say, wasn't it week 1? This is why I don't get why they're ahead of them in the rankings. That makes no sense.
I'm happy they're in there. Don't get me wrong. They deserve it.
Yeah, they got more votes somehow. I don't really get that.
I don't know how. Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I knew it. I was like, I felt like that was a week 1 matchup. They played again and they played in Arrowhead too. Arrowhead, where the Chiefs play.
Yeah, that was yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I knew it. That's why I was like, why are they ranked ahead of them? That doesn't make any sense. But let's move on here to our Pick'em segment, this is it. This will be our last segment of the night. Let's wrap this one up where I'm at 11-8, Biggie's at 8-11. So last week was a big swing game. I got the Bucks winning and 49ers losing, of course, because they played each other. And then this week we're gonna do the Rams versus the Jags. This is gonna be a good game. I think Puka Nakua's situation, we don't know if he's going to play, and we're picking this game so early. To me, it doesn't really sway my decision, but Biggie, I'll let you go first with this one, and then I'll finish it out.
Okay. So for me, this game's interesting because if they don't have Puka Nakua, I think they're going to struggle a little bit. But obviously you can't go off the Ravens right now because they've been, they're obviously bad right now.
Yeah,
really bad. But I don't know. This is a tough one to pick because the Jaguars really disappointed me last week.
They look so good and then not.
But yeah, just based off that, I think the Rams right now are a better team. I'm going to take LA.
All right, yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think even if Puka doesn't play, Devontae Adams will do enough for them to score points, and Kyron Williams and Stafford can hit the open guy. It doesn't matter who it is. And I think it's really hard to judge Jacksonville. They are 4-2, but it's just like they're so up and down. They're not consistent. And it's crazy to say, even though they're 4-2.
You can't put it on them if they're going to be inconsistent like that.
Yeah, and you never know what London will bring. London's another aspect of it, when teams travel and all that stuff. But since we're picking it earlier in the week, I'm going to go with the Rams as well. So we're both in agreement with the Rams getting the win over Jacksonville Sunday morning. That'll do it for episode 72. But before that, Biggie, you have anything you want to throw out there before we sign off here?
Nothing at all. Go Orange.
All right, that's it. That'll do it for episode 72. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Go out there, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. Follow, like, comment. We love it. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys.
See ya.